You found yourself at the junction where worlds meet. Politics.
Civility? How about honesty in this country, folks?
Entertainment.
I don't like entertainment.
And a whole bunch of other stuff.
It's about having a healthy body image. You have a very unhealthy body. You should have a horrible body image.
Not a big home improvement market in Detroit.
We are definitely going to get letters.
You're listening to Talk Radio's Strangest Animal.
You're a strange animal, that's what I know.
You're getting louder with Crowder.
But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus.
Glad to be with you. That's the sound of the weekend. Oh, my word. I just forgot to actually tweet out that we are live. Can you believe this?
Unbelievable.
I can't believe it either. Let me tweet out right
Unbelievable
now.
professionalism.
Let me get this now. There we go. I am your host, Stephen Crowder.
Ridiculous.
Louderwithcrowder.com for daily articles, news, everything we'll be discussing here on this show. Producing with me in video studio, as always, is Jared, who is not gay. Follow him on Twitter at NotGayJared. I fulfilled my legal obligations. Draw your own conclusions. We're good?
Yeah, no, I appreciate you doing that.
Thank you very much. Big show.
Crazy big show.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
A lot of Trump talk on this show. We're going to have Gavin McInnes, very pro-Trump, very well-known pro-Trump guy. We're going to have Ben Shapiro, very well-known, not a Trump guy, anti-Trump guy.
Not a fan.
And we're going to have, of course, Courtney Kirchhoff, who people love. She's also easy on the eye, to talk about sexism at the Olympics. And we may or may not have the official Olympic social relations czar.
I heard that's rumored. Yeah.
Right. So we're still waiting on that. We have a few things to get to. We'll get to Trump with the guests because I really do want to provide you with points of view from both sides of that coin. Gavin is very pro-Trump. I also think he's a reasonable guy. Ben is very anti-Trump. I think he's pretty reasonable in the way that he presents his arguments. This week has been Trump all over the news cycle. This is obviously the big quote from this week. You have the video clip. Yep, let's go.
If she gets to pick her judges, nothing you can do, folks. Although the Second Amendment people, maybe there is, I don't know. But
okay, so that was the one people were calling for him to resign. You tweet me at @SCrowder what you think. Did that seem like it was calling people to shoot Hillary Clinton to you? And we'll get to it later in the show. Jared's wincing.
It's just another day of the Trump campaign.
Is that what you think he was
That's in my
doing?
opinion. I don't know. I just think he's not the brightest.
Okay.
I don't give him that much credit. I don't know.
Yeah, like you said, all the conspiracy theories fade away if you just think he's not particularly thoughtful with his
I don't
comments.
think he's. Yeah, I think it gives him too much credit in the old noggin.
I wouldn't say. I don't think he wanted people to
my
kill Hillary
opinion.
Clinton, but
That's
I don't
not-
think he knew what he meant.
Yeah, I don't think he knew what he meant.
Something else, too, we're going to get later in the break. We wrote about this. It was our biggest story of in many weeks. I haven't seen it on most media sites. I certainly haven't seen it on any of the leftist sites, which is usually the sites where I go and get our news so we can see what they're talking about. We'll talk about this later on. We need a little bit more time for it, so we'll do it later with a longer segment. Corin Gaines, the shotgun with a 5-year-old meat shield we talked about last week. There's been some footage that surfaced, long footage, a 20-minute video on her.
This one doesn't feature her, unfortunately, feature her face. This
doesn't feature her
clip.
face, but she was pulled over for no tags on her car, and she was,
and it gets worse.
Yeah, it'll get worse. We'll cover this later, but let's just give you a taste.
Of course I won't raise no submissive ass children. Absolutely not.
Well, that's just to give you you wait till you see the palate cleanse. So we're going to talk about that later. And, man, I tell you what, we got some emails for our sketches being insensitive, exaggerating her last week.
Oh, gosh. It didn't do it justice.
No, it did not do it justice. Okay, so we'll get to those things. I want to hit a couple things right off the bat. 2 stories that were big this week, but I think are relatively congruent. Clock Boy's back. There's no frickin' Clock Boy.
You know what? I'll be honest. There was a little part of joy in my heart that leaped when I saw that he was back. Just because it was just the story that keeps giving. I don't
Clock
know.
Boy.
It just keeps getting richer every time.
Oh my god. So, okay, he's
the
back.
Gift that keeps on
came
giving
from Qatar.
all year.
Clark. So he came back just to sue for $50 million the school district there in Texas, and they've said, well, of course we have to because that's justice. So let me give you a few quick. He's coming back to sue for $50 million, and he lives in Qatar. This is one of those things that really bothers me whenever conservatives, they hold out like kids, the same thing. I hate gimmicks, and kids are always gimmicks, whether it was Jonathan Crone, whether it was that CJ Pearson kid. I always we don't really do that on this show. We're like, nah, we're not going to have a bunch of 14-year-old kids parroting what parents have told them. That's clearly what Clockboy is doing if you read the language of what he's talked about. But let's show the first clip that Clockboy, when he came back and held his little press conference with his unofficially terrorist organization representation. Let's watch this.
Right now, as she said, I lost a lot of things. I lost my home. I lost my creativity, because before I used to love building things, but now I can't.
I've lost it. The magic's gone.
It's like it's Hook.
Yeah.
Robin Williams forgetting his happy thoughts. I lost my creativity. You mean you lost your ability to take a Philips alarm clock and place it into a suitcase?
In his defense, that's never been done before.
Is that the only video clip we have of him?
No, we got one more.
Oh, let me see the other clip.
Yep.
Yeah,
Lost my security. I can't walk out on the streets anymore without having to be covered up, because I don't want to get shot, because it happens here. And it might happen anywhere, and anytime I walk out the house, there might be death waiting for me. So
what kids there might be death waiting
Might be
for
death
me?
waiting for me.
Who's his speechwriter? Edgar Allan Poe?
Oh gosh.
So this is the kid. He's good. There might be death for me. So the only thing is he didn't lose his home. No one tried to shoot him. There have been no attempts on his life. Not like perhaps yours truly or people I know who've criticized Islam. It's not the same at all. Maybe some people send him some angry tweets. I don't know. Start a commission for fair treatment on Twitter. He is so clearly coached by his parents here. Something else he said. It's not safe for anyone in the United States. He was talking about that's a minority. Qatar. A couple things. They're throwing gays off rooftops. You're talking about Sharia law. You're talking about women who get raped who are prosecuted for adultery if they come forward. You're talking about apostasy being punishable by death. You're talking about slave labor. It's not safe for minorities in the United States. Qatar! Really? You are in a country where you're going to say that minorities are not safe in the United States, that it's so unjust. Hashtag bomb clock lives matter, because some police politely and very gently escorted you in cuffs to the back of their paddy wagon because you came in with a ticking duffel bag, which maybe raised some eyebrows. You're going to say it's not safe for any minority in the United States as you go back to a slave state that rapes its women and burns gays alive. Not Qatar. Yes, Qatar. Frickin' clock boy. I just can't. Can Barack Obama, do you think he'll just, all right, we screwed up. We screwed up. We brought him to the White House. The kid's a little huckster. He's a turd. I get it. I would just love just once for him to be like, I get it, okay? I was wrong with
fairness,
Clock Boy.
He may need the $15 million now just to find a plane that will land in Qatar. I wouldn't do it for anything less.
I wonder, well, that $15 million is going to fund the future. What with the ingenuity coming out of the Clock Boy household. With the $15 million, I'm going to build the world's biggest, wait for it, it's going to be a building with a clock on top of it. I'm going to call it Building Clock, patented. You little turd. I just can't stand this kid. I mean, I love the fact that he came back, but Qatar, which reminds me. So let's go into another one that I think is entirely congruent with this, was Will Smith in Dubai talking about Donald Trump and Islamophobia. All right, Willie, let's go.
In terms of Islamophobia in America, for me, that's why it's important to show up. It's like I'm in Dubai and I'm having fun and I'm tweeting and I'm showing pictures. Hey, doesn't look like they hate me, does it?
Right. Okay. That's enough. And then he goes on to say we need to be cleansed of the Trump people. Again, Dubai is an actual. Let me bring this in. UAE, slave trade there. Qatar, I have the Qatar numbers up. I'll bring up Dubai later. One of the highest per capita levels of slavery in the world. Dubai, UAE, the United Arab Emirates, doesn't do much better. You have women who've been jailed. There was a famous English reporter in Dubai because she was raped. She came forward, and of course, she's a filthy whore if you do that in Dubai. Let's talk about feminism. Listen, Will Smith, who's talked about slavery before, first off, this is what we call anecdotal. They seem to like me here. Oh, really? They seem to like a multi-millionaire Hollywood star? You think you're getting the same treatment as every black who walks in, and then guess what? You're building the World Cup stadium. What? Because you're a slave now. Here's the thing, Will Smith, okay? We're going to bitch about the United States and our culture and our history of slavery. Will, you just need to take a stroll 2 blocks down to find yourself a real black slave there in Dubai. But they were nice to you. They rolled out the red carpet and saved the good caviar for Hancock. I just say, it was nice to me. Islamophobia. Really? You're in a place where there's death for people who convert. And you're going to bitch about the United States Islamophobia? And what bothers me too is these people, they all do, we had the same thing to a lesser degree in Canada. They leave the United States and they pander to try and sell these things. We had it with Green Day, we had it with Bright Eyes. And I just remember sitting there, they'd come, oh, I'm moving to Canada, oh, United States Islamophobia. You have lost your leg to stand on if you go and you perform or you speak in a place where they actually employ slavery. That's this big thing. United States slavery, centuries. Listen, horrible. No one's defending slavery, okay? Despite what Shank might say, Dinesh defends slavery, of course. No, he didn't defend slavery. Nobody defends the idea of, well, maybe some people do. We certainly don't here on this program. You're reaching back through history to show up at a press junket where it still happens. This is the problem with the left, and nobody talks about it. Nobody wants to talk about what's happening with these Muslim countries at the Olympics and the rape and the anti-Semitism. And Will Smith he probably reads the Clock Boy story and goes, yeah, man, I'm sympathetic. Yeah. Irving, Texas. Yeah, that's really cruel there. You know what? We'd be better off in Dubai. I don't want to give you any extra work with the dump button. Are you shitting me? UAE and Qatar, and you're going to go there and make money off of complaining about human rights here in the United States? Black Lives Matter because someone who flipped the bird to the cop and aimed a loaded shotgun got shot. How about slaves' lives matter? They just showed up on a boat. Now, you're a slave now. But let's pay no attention behind the curtain. We'll be back. We'll talk about the Olympics, and I don't know, I'll have a beer or something.
It could be Jimmy, it could be Mike. It doesn't matter, as long as they're fine. Just beat it, beat it. Look at little kids and beat it. It doesn't matter, long as they're young. Binoculars. Beat it.
Whoa, Jared, what are you doing?
Shoot bad guys.
With what?
My AR-15.
Where'd you get it?
AR-15.com.
Oh, there's another one. You got him.
Yeah.
Thank God for AR-15.com. They have AR-15 and accessories for sale and the best advice there is on the web. Oh, no, there's another one. You got him.
Yeah.
With your what?
AR-15.
From where?
AR-15.com.
That's the best place to go, and that's the takeaway because this commercial's about to stop. We are back. That is Hopper growling, who, by the way, has some more announcements regarding his VP. Hopper, go lay down.
That's just great.
Go lay down. It adds to the.
We need more choices.
Texture. We need some more choices.
We need some more choices.
So Hopper announced Dean Cain, and we're happy about this. So speaking of Olympics, while we're talking about Qatar, and all right, let's just forget about the Segway. Rape, and they won't ride buses with Jews. Okay. Do you need I say more? I can explain more. I don't think you need more. Olympic boxer from Morocco, been jailed for rape. 2 women. No, he hasn't been prosecuted yet. His name is Hassan Saada. Hold your judgment. I know what you're thinking. Here's the deal. Only 99% of Morocco is Islamic. So there's only a 99% chance that this man is Muslim. Check your prejudice. Before that. We don't know yet. Here's the deal. When we're talking about real rape culture, I was talking with Casey, one of our writers. We wrote about this. Did we just lose something? Is that just the screen?
Yeah, it's just a screen.
Everything else is working?
Yeah, we're good.
The screen just went out. So, what is this? It's working for me. I don't know what's going on. This is ridiculous. So, I was talking with Casey about it. I said, well, this is an example of real rape culture. She said, well, not really. It was just one rape in Rio. I said, well, hold on a second. What do you think is more likely? That this guy made it to the big stage, to the Olympics as a boxer, and all of a sudden just had an urge to rape. So out of nowhere, you know what? I think I'm going to try that today. It seems like something that's worthwhile. Or do you think it came from a culture where women need 4 witnesses to prosecute a rapist? Therefore, very few rapists get prosecuted, little known fact in the Islamic world. And has been living in a culture of rape, probably raped before, and then just realized that Rio doesn't play that way. He showed up, raped, and the judo Olympic team said, no, we're going to fight. Take me to jail. I'd prefer jail. That's what I think happened with this guy. So we'll keep it. We'll keep you up to date. But we have so much that gets into the Olympics. One person I know thus far has been arrested for rape. Happens to be Muslim from Morocco. Something else. The Lebanese team. You read about this?
I did.
Lebanese athletes refused to share a bus with any Jews to get to Friday's Rio Olympics opening ceremony. So they got a new bus. Is there anything more like the Jews just like, let's just get a new bus?
Let's just tolerate it. Just put up with so much.
Can you imagine if the United States refused to get on a bus with Chinese, with the Lebanese, with I mean, take your pick. Anybody, if Sweden refused to get on the bus with it couldn't possibly happen. This is the racism from the left. They'll say you're being Islamophobic, but they have they're of course the ones practicing racism of well, not racism when you're talking about Muslims, but in this case we are talking about nations. But the ideology of Islam, the prejudice of low expectations. Listen. This is what they're going. One rapist from Morocco is not that bad. We had a whole team ready. I mean, you should count your lucky stars. Okay, a couple teams refused to get on buses with Jews. They're not blowing them up, right? It's not Munich. No one's going to want the rights to this film. And then you find out that one of them refused to actually, was it a judo or wrestling? Someone's saying something's weird is happening to the voices. I don't know what's going on here. This is someone tweeting me. So hopefully it could just be their feed.
Yeah, probably.
They refused to engage. I think it was wrestling or judo. I don't have this story on here because I didn't cover it, but I just had a hit list of all this. They refused to grapple with an Israeli. And no, we're not going to touch the Jews. This is an ongoing thing at the Olympics. The beauty of the Olympics is that cultures have nowhere to hide, and so it really exposes the crappy ones, right? Whether it's the Chinese, the year where they were bringing in 6-year-olds and 9-year-olds, and people say communism is beautiful in theory until you realize that this girl, because she had the right femur to shin ratio, they said, you're going to be an Olympic gymnast, period. You have no choice in it. This is the big difference. These people in a lot of these countries, they're not choosing to represent their country. They are chosen to represent their country. Mm-hmm. Whereas in the United States, Kayla Harrison, one of the first guests ever on this show, she just won her 2nd Olympic gold medal in judo. Number 2, she's the first American to ever win a gold medal in judo. And now she won 2, in a very dominating fashion. She was sexually abused by her coach when she was young, had a really rough, broken family scenario, moved across the country. She would have every single excuse to be a screw-up. And her testimony is incredible. That's who I want out there representing our country. Someone like a Kayla Harrison. Hopefully we can get her back on. I know she'll be really busy and I want her to rest up. But she was one of the first guests on this show. And I'm so glad to see it, but it just shows you, she chose that. No one forced her. No one said you're going to be a judoka. It's not like China. And then you look at the Middle Eastern countries like we're talking about. It's just nonstop. The rape, no Jews. Did you watch the beach volleyball?
Oh, gosh, it was...
burqas? The hijabs.
Hijabs.
Hijabs,
People got
not
upset.
the burqas. People got upset because it was misrepresented?
Yeah, by BBC Africa or something like that.
Can you imagine competing in beach volleyball in a hijab?
No.
It's their choice. Listen, would you choose to go on down to Copacabana in a parka? Unless you knew you were going to have the crap beaten out of you if you didn't. These people are brainwashed, just like this Black Lives Matter. Corn Gaines, who we'll talk about later, who's brainwashing her child, saying, the cops won't kill you. The cops won't kill you. You'll watch the videotape. The cops won't kill you, right? Mom, they're just trying to be nice. Don't you believe that? You're going to fight the asses. You're going to fight the asses. This is the actual tape. You'll see it later. Yeah. You're going to fight the asses. They trying to kill mommy and kill you. Really? Yes, really. They kill all black people. And they're raising kids with that mindset. It's the brainwashing, right? You wouldn't excuse it if someone were brainwashed to be in the Klan. It's the brainwashing of these people. They hate Jews. They rape. This is what happens in Islamic countries. It's okay because of the soft expectations. And we, to a lesser degree, we excuse it. Well, they want the hijab. Really? You think they want to be abused? You think they want to have zero freedom of choice? In the United States, you'd call it abuse. We should be celebrating their culture. Meanwhile, they're dropping like flies of heat stroke. They don't even try to get in the pool.
No.
I don't know if there's some kind of new Gore-Tex anti-drag pro lap swing burqa. I have no. Maybe it exists, and someone's going to fact check me on that.
I have heard it. We talked a long time ago. The burkini.
The burkini.
The burkini.
The burkini. There's a catalog that won't exactly be flying off the shelves. Oh gosh, we have to go. Gavin McInnes making the case for Trump. Coming up after this. And welcome back to this coverage of the 2016 Olympics, coming to you from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Don't drink the water. Now, Bob, as we cover men's wrestling, we get to the podium where, oh boy, these Russians have dominated this sport for decades.
That's right, Jim. They're very good at grappling other sweaty men.
One could say it's an inclination. It brings us back to the argument of nature or nurture. But of course, taking gold right there is none other than Medvedev. Of course, not tearing up because they are known as cyborgs. As his national anthem begins to play,
he is cold and stoic, Bob.
Indeed they are. Just look at their lifeless eyes. But he took gold without even so much as having a point scored on him, Bob. That's impressive.
I fear for my life, Jim.
As you should, Bob. Now as we see the flag... Oh, I'm hearing word in my earpiece that Mr. Medvedev has been disqualified for a positive steroid test.
Color me surprised, Bob.
Your sarcasm misses the mark because you're unintelligent, Bob. Well, it looks like he will be stripped of that medal, bringing great shame to the nation of Russia.
That said...
Oh, I'm receiving word now that the silver medalist who will receive gold also comes from Russia, Mr. Latyev, and I'm also receiving word that he just tested positive for steroids.
I'm noticing a trend, Jim.
Yes, Bob, that naturally means that the gold medal will now be passed down to the bronze medalist, who also hails from Russia, and I'm receiving word he also tested positive for steroids. You know, I'm receiving word now the top 10 qualifiers in this men's wrestling division were all from Russia, and all tested positive for steroids, which means that this medal will be given to the man who originally placed dead last in a twisting turn of events, Hatsuyai Sakuraba, who hails from Japan, and also was under the impression that he'd be competing in judo.
I mean, I can't believe I have not done so much honor to my country. I can't believe I went to judo.
Oh, and it's touching. That's what the Olympics are all about.
It's a tearjerker.
Stay tuned for more coverage of the 2016 Olympics from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, where coming up, we'll be covering women's swimming and the men who've made them great.
Glad to be back, stone-faced as ever. I don't know, maybe he's in a mood. You never know. One of my favorite guests to have on, but very unpredictable. He's like a hammerhead shark. He's unpredictable. The Gavin McInnes Show on Compound Media, compoundmedia.com, Gavin?
That's correct.
Yes, because the name has changed, and one thing with you, we bring on the show, you give like one-word answers in texts or emails that always lead us to believe like, well, man, I don't know, maybe he's not going to show, but you always do.
Yeah. I am a Scottish man genetically, and we are incredibly frugal with everything, including time.
Oh, let's see what he's doing there. All right, Gavin. Well, we just tried to keep it friendly and have a little chit-chat before the show. Now we know. business
was
only.
that adversarial? I'm just explaining why I'm punctual.
Okay. Well, I appreciate. Well, we were punctual. This started.
I never said you weren't punctual.
Okay.
What are you looking for a fight?
Maybe.
I just want a reasonable discussion.
Well,
That's all we
reasonable
want.
discussion, of course. All right, Gavin. So, busy week, obviously, big week for Trump. Now, you're a big Trump supporter, and I've always talked about this. You were a big Ted Cruz supporter before, so
yes,
you're not a guy who feels. You're one of the few who doesn't feel the need to crap on all other members of the GOP to support Trump, which I think we would both agree is kind of a rarity in today's climate.
Well, it's a big rarity with the right. I mean, the left, if free mumia, illegal immigration, non-genetically modified food, they're all friends together. It's really irritating. And we have the opposite problem where, you know, John Bolton hates Kennedy, hates Shapiro, hates Nero. There's all this infighting, and it's just not, it doesn't lend ourselves to a Republican president.
Do you think that maybe Trump has spurred that on more than others? I mean, you know, we have people who have been pretty even-handed with him, claiming that, you know, we support open borders or whatever it is. And we're going, well, that's just not accurate. If you don't listen, it's just because we don't fall in line for Trump. So would you say that bothers you too when you see them doing that? I'm hearing a lot of people saying you need to get in line, but not a lot of people making the case. We'll have Ben Shapiro on next as to, okay, why Trump is trustworthy.
Here's the case why you have to get in line. Screw trustworthy. He is the Republican candidate. Every time I talk to you people, you say things like Jill Stein and Gary Johnson and all this.
Who's you people? What's
me
people?
Who are not on board the Trump train. You remind me.
See, right away you're doing this. I'm asking you to make the case for Trump, and you're going, you have to do this because you're putting me in bed with Jill Stein, which is a horrifying thought.
I don't even know what she looks like, actually. That's how little I care about the Green Party. The Green Party.
She's like Jack
Layton.
Layton.
This is the analogy. Let me make the case, okay?
All right.
Your parents got divorced, and I want you guys to come over to the Trump train, which is why I get so emotional. Your mom got divorced. She has a new boyfriend now, okay? He's your stepdad. And I know he's not your real dad. And you keep screaming, you're not my father, and storming upstairs and slamming the bedroom door. He's the best you got now. He's your dad. So you have to accept that and move on. In 4 years, we can fight. And by the way, I totally got you guys back before he was the nominee. And I even agreed with a lot of your points. I have my personal beefs with Trump.
Sure.
But once Cruz was gone, I said, all right, he's better than Hillary. That's all that matters at this point.
I don't think it's all that matters when you have, when you have only 9%. No, Gavin, hear me out here. It's all that matters on Twitter with very small groups of people. Do you know how many people have either voted for Hillary or Donald Trump in the United States today? Total percentage. 9%. That means that 91% of Americans, if you look at their unfavorability ratings, the vast majority of 91% of Americans can't stand Donald Trump or Hillary Clinton. Now, we defend him on issues where I think he's right. I'm not going to be in the business of endorsing someone, but the onus is on Trump supporters to make that case to 91% of America, is it not?
Here's the case. It's the best we got. Grow up, pull up your pants.
But that doesn't work for 91% of America. You'll lose.
Well, then we lose your way, though. We lose when we have to sit there and say, look, he's better than... Why do I have to do better than he's better than Hillary?
Well, you chose to. I didn't say to do that. I don't think that's a good enough case.
Well,
I think he is better than Hillary. I agree, but my point is, 91% of Americans are not happy with either of them, and they're saying we need more than that to pull the lever. And you have Trump supporters who get so upset when you go, man, these polls are getting worse and worse and worse. You've got to change strategy. Why are you pointing out negative polls? Because it's reality. I would like to see him beat Hillary Clinton. It's almost like he doesn't want to.
Okay, here, just for fun. Yeah. My point is I shouldn't have to make the case because it's the lesser of two evils, if you'll take that. But if you want me to make the case, here's the case. And by the way, people always say, don't get in the weeds with Crowder or Shapiro. They will destroy you. And I always say, screw that. I'm not scared of Steven Crowder or Ben Shapiro.
Because I would hope not.
I won't get in the weeds with you guys. It's not about the weeds.
No, it's not about the weeds. It's about 91% of the United States don't like either. And I just am saying, listen, there needs to be a stronger case from Trump supporters.
Here's my pitch to the 91%.
Yeah.
As Breitbart pointed out, culture is above politics, okay? Politics is downstream from the culture. Right now, the culture in America is trigger warnings, it's political correctness, it's affirmative action, it's diversity, it's feminism, it's the patriarchy sucks. Now you go, that sounds like a small deal, isn't that just colleges? No, it's everything. I mean, we've got ROTC Marines walking a mile in her shoes wearing red high heel shoes. We've got women responsible for Benghazi and they are all affirmative action hires. Charlene Lamb, Hillary Clinton, all affirmative action hires.
Good way to put it. Yes.
So
put that on bumper sticker. You've got women who did Benghazi. Watch the feminists go nuts. It's a good way to put it.
Ruin everything. There's a reason they're not allowed on a pirate ship.
Well, they're allowed. They just be, rape the hell out of them. But yes.
Is that why they're not allowed?
No, they are allowed, but only if they sign off on the rape beforehand, I think.
No. Women are not allowed on boats back 100, 200 years ago. But anyway.
Well, boats. I'm talking about pirate ships. I'm pretty sure there are some women who were raped on pirate ships. I digress.
All pirate ships are boats. All boats are not pirate ships. And this is the problem with Trump and racism. All cats are mammals. All dogs are mammals. All cats are not dogs. Yes, some racists like him. That doesn't mean he's racist. And
I've never said that. I've never said that. And I've openly said Donald Trump, I have no evidence. I don't believe he's a racist at all. I have no problem with harsh immigration policies. I would have no problem with his wall if I believed it would work. I would do more than none of those things have ever been leveled at Trump from this program. Okay, I think you know that.
So let me finish. Okay, so the culture here, the culture that he's pushing is no more shame, no more crapping on the patriarchy. Right now with the Olympics, we have Michael Phelps wants to hold the American flag. We all want that. Then we have CNN's Camus Bell say, no, it should be the Muslim chick, who, by the way, sucks at fencing.
Wait, is he on CNN now?
Yeah, he's got some show called Racity, Race, Race, Race.
Oh, yeah, well, he was a comedian who I just thought was painfully unfunny. He had that show, and it was really bad. I didn't know he was on CNN. Sorry, continue.
That's all it takes. Just be black and have an angle and whine about race, and you'll go right to the top. Or pretend you have cancer like that Quincy dude. But anyway, he's fighting back against that. And once you sort of allow the patriarchy to be cool again, and once you show reverence to this country like that, Muslim fencer sits there and talks about how she feels unsafe in America. This is when we just had 11 babies blow up in Baghdad. We just had a bunch in Pakistan, a bunch of lawyers at a funeral explode. But no, she feels unsafe in a world where CNN is pushing her, holding the American flag, despite her total lack of talent.
Yeah, her and Clockboy both.
Well, none of those things. I don't disagree with any of those things. And to be clear, I've always said I've never been #NeverTrump, just because I can't get on board with that, and I can't get on board with most of the people in there. But I don't think most people like Ben Shapiro, who will be on next, would disagree with any of the things you've said.
Okay.
I just don't see that as a case for Trump, and I don't think it helps a case when people go and attack folks like me or other people who are going, I don't know about Trump, I'm still waiting, and go, get in line and endorse him. I think that hurts it, because everything you said right there, I agree with.
Yeah, we can be pretty mean, but that's who we're up against. We're up against cis scum. So
no, here's the thing, though. Donald Trump has attacked Ted Cruz and Republicans, and I've said far more than Hillary Clinton. I would like to see Trump people and Donald Trump go after Hillary with the same kind of vigor they have Republicans. And I did a poll on that, and most of my audience is pro-Trump. And I said, would you like to see Donald Trump get a little bit harder on Hillary? And all of them, thousands and thousands of people said, yeah, I'm waiting for it. I would love to see him go after Hillary as hard as he's gone after Cruz.
I would go farther than that. I would say that's his only hope. You see,
but why
the
isn't
only
he doing
way we
it?
can win this election is if dads get off the couch and if moms stay on the couch. That's why I call this the Real Housewives election. Because just like when you turn on Real Housewives and women stay glued to the couch and men immediately leave, that's what we need in November. We need Hillary hammered. I don't expect to get women over to the Trump side. What I want to do is keep their asses glued to the couch. And the way to do that is to recognize that Hillary is a murderer. Okay?
Right.
But just sorry to get back to Trump and policies. Okay, so you got the culture thing. If you want real policies, he's the first guy to bring immigration to the forefront. We had Republicans like George W. Bush saying, open the borders, wearing a sombrero and eating a taco, saying, Mexicans are wonderful, wide borders, keep spending.
Tacos are delicious.
I'm sick of tacos, by the way. Vicente Fox said it's the best thing Mexicans have done in the past 100 years. It's a stupid sandwich. You have to eat it at an angle. It falls everywhere. It's a pathetic version of a hamburger.
By the way, Gavin doing this is a gif. There's no doubt.
No doubt.
You knew it. You walked right into it, Gavin. What did you? This is why you should fear the Crowder program, not because of political discussions, because of the gif madness.
Tacos, you hold them like this, and then you put them towards your face.
Oh, good.
That's all.
The good thing is actually you don't realize your screen just froze, and how good for you.
He said, we are not. He's putting his fist up in the air, and he's saying, no way to immigration. And that is a wonderful thing about no way immigration. We are standing up for ourselves.
Okay, Gavin.
You'll get your wish.
That's one, and that's huge. I mean, the billions of trillions, the trillions of dollars that we lose with him. There's so many nuances people don't talk about, like hospitals closing down, schools closing down. How about the money they send back? Like, we just had a bodega owner shot by a guy who grabbed a cop's gun, and this guy was from, I don't know, he literally is sending his money back to Timbuktu. And you think, how much money do we send to Mexico, Timbuktu, France, Paris, Parisian Muslims?
Well, I think everyone, to be fair, he's not the first one to talk about that. You were a supporter of Ted Cruz, who had a pretty comprehensive plan. Some of it was that Trump borrowed from it, and I don't have a problem with that. I don't think he'll get Mexico to pay for it. I think that's a pretty lofty goal. I don't think you can deport people realistically, but someone like my mom, for example, we've had people email furious, your mom shouldn't be here because she's not American, she's French-Canadian who went through the process, get attacked for not being, it's almost this pure land mindset here in the United States. So I wouldn't disagree with anything.
We're swinging the pendulum the other way, and by the way, he was the first to make it a central political argument. This whole thing, build a wall, build a wall. And by the way, it's not a pipe dream. They owe us $50 billion in trade deficit. When you go to a restaurant and you sit in the same booth to the tune of $50 billion net for that restaurant, you can start asking for stuff. You can start asking for a diamond booth with naked ladies dancing on it.
Yeah, I think business-wise, people are completely misestimating the leverage that we would have on Mexico. Their leaders just said, nope, we're not going to do it. And if he says no, what are you going to do? They're already poor as dirt. Are you going to harm their credit rating? You go to war with Mexico? I don't know how you do it.
You deny them $50 billion in trade.
I'm going to say, okay. I think they'd sooner go with that than pay for a wall.
Good. Thank God. That would be wonderful. Now we have manufacturing back here. Okay, so that's one big issue. And then also, as Tucker Carlson pointed out, he redefined the GOP to be a nationalist organization, an anti-globalist organization. I've never heard globalism come up once during an election. This is now, immigration and globalism are the two central tenets of the Republican Party, and the Republican Party hates it. That's good news.
So you think everyone who's not on board with Trump is a globalist?
I'm saying they didn't care about it enough in the past. It didn't come up.
I guess we'll have to define what that means, because I've talked about that, it started off as interchangeable, or I was going, okay, I understand that. Multiculturalism, globalism, that hasn't worked. We know that, being from Canada. But then it's gotten into a weird space where people are going, wait, hold on. So Ben Shapiro's a globalist. Ted Cruz is a globalist. I may not be clear on what it means at that point. Stay tuned. We're going to have more Gavin McInnes after the break, or don't, but you'll feel bad.
Wow, what a weird movie.
I know, it throws your mind for a loop, right?
I mean, that's the thing with the Purge series. It makes you think, like, oh my God, what would I do, like, one night if all crime was legal? It's crazy, right?
I know, it is pretty crazy when you think about it. What would you do?
Oh, good question. I was thinking about it. So to stay safe, what I would probably do is I would go up, to our lake cabin up north.
Yeah.
Right. I'd set up there. I'd have security cameras, of course, but I would buy a boat beforehand. Maybe like 3 or 4 weeks beforehand. Not a big boat, but a boat with a motor that could be fast enough, but I'd pay cash and I would drive it up the week of, before the night of the event,
Sure.
So I'd take it up there and I would put it out in the water, but I wouldn't put it on a dock where there would be any paperwork. I'd put it out behind the lake house there, and I would drive up the day before the night of the purge, go out there, get my supplies, everything I would need to protect myself. I'd get it all in the boat.
Right, good thinking.
And then right before the night, I would push off, I would motor out so that once it starts, I would find a quiet sort of cove out there on the lake and shut off all the lights and just go to complete silence and wait it out.
Ah, good idea.
I thought so. Why? What would you do?
I'd kill your mother.
You're a strange animal, that's what I know. But you're a strange animal, I got to follow. Oh, I'm in the spiritus.
Glad to be back. You can watch his show, The Gavin McInnes Show, daily at compoundmedia.com. It's worth it. Check it out. Also, some clips up there on the YouTubes. Gavin, thank you for being with us, sir. So before the break, you were laying out the case. I understand those things, and I don't think that go into the globalism deal.
Okay, let me put it very simply. A push for the maximum possible manufacturing in America.
So would that include taxes and tariffs and raising the prices on goods and services?
Yes, that would include tariffs, normal tariffs. Our tariffs are pathetic compared to the rest of the world. Normal tariffs on products coming in, and also more manufacturing in America. And I know we're never going to get back to just people screwing on, like in Laverne and Shirley at the beginning of the show, where they would put on things on Miller High Life or whatever, and then put the gloves on them as they went down across. I know we're never going to get that back, but sophisticated manufacturing, like pharmaceuticals, like airplane parts, I want to start seeing that again. You know, Trump made Pat Buchanan mainstream, and that's crucial because his mentality is the only future for the West.
And the mentality of Pat Buchanan is?
Isolationism.
Okay, so what about people who don't like that? Again, the 91% of Americans who go, hear isolationism and go, that's nationalism. That seems a little far for them.
Yeah, those are called women, and they shouldn't be part for the most part.
I mean, I understand where you're coming, and obviously you're funny. I get it, but there are a lot of men who go, nope, I'm not on board with that. People who would vote Republican.
Yeah, they're the children of single moms, and they are women. Barack Obama is a single mom from Hawaii with an axe to grind.
I would say no to someone like me, where they say you're not you can't be on board the Trump train because you come from a mother who's an immigrant. We don't want her here. She shouldn't be here taking a job from an American. Hundreds and hundreds of tweets.
French Canadians.
The point. Oh yeah, a ton, absolutely. There's this idea of no more immigration, close the books, period, except for white Americans who are here, and I just wouldn't agree with that.
Wait,
I don't think that's Trump's idea, but here's my point: is with the 91% of Americans who see this and hear it parroted, that's not convincing to them. And that's what I think you're seeing as polls plummet. And one thing I do find, I think we can agree on this, one thing that is very startling to me is right when he started, the last time you were on, he was always talking about the polls, and you talked about how no one's going to know how to handle the media like Trump because of culture. We agreed on that in the Breitbart thing. Now the one thing Donald Trump never talks about is polls unless they're rigged and the media being stacked against him. Those were going to be his two strongest selling points. Now no one talks about them.
Yes. Look, he had a bad week because of women. He lost women last week because he poo-pooed Khan, the wrath of Khan, as Ann Coulter puts it, and he shouldn't have done that. You're supposed to be reverent when someone dies in battle, and he didn't appreciate that because he's got that New York attitude of if someone hits you, you punch them back twice as hard. That works in business. It doesn't always work in politics. So we lost a lot of broads.
Well, I think if we have to be, again, if we're being objective, he didn't strike at Khan. People got mad because he struck at the wife who didn't say anything about him. So he did hit first there.
No, Khan's speech was all anti-Trump, so Trump retaliated with, yeah, whatever. I didn't hear his wife saying much.
Yeah, I mean, it would be reasonable for people, again, these aren't people who are in the Democrats' lap. They're going, kind of a dick move to attack the wife as opposed to the husband. I know a lot of people. That's why he's losing Georgia. That's why he's losing Kansas. Places because to those Republicans, to those conservatives in Utah, it's getting to be a 3. To them, it matters. And I don't think you should discount all of them as children or women.
I would classify them as pussies. And yeah, it is terrible that we lost them. And I don't think we're getting them back. But if we hammer on Hillary, we can keep them from the voting booths in November. And that's the future for Trump. And it's really the future for America. I mean, the 19th Amendment, if we're all honest with ourselves, I would never say it on your show, but it was the worst thing that happened to America. Oops, I just said it. Okay. But in bars, we all admit that. And plenty of women admit that, too.
The 19th... Okay, you just said it on the show.
Okay. Well, you have a dump button.
No, we don't need to hit the dump button. That's fine. You can say whatever you want. I'm just saying there's a reason that this is what's happening right now. I would like to see some tactful changes from Donald Trump because I think there's a lot more that people who don't support him agree with, but the supporters are the ones who keep pushing him away at this point, making it difficult.
Yeah, I know. They're playing hardball, but this brings us to this quote he said the other day about the Second Amendment. Now, what I hear with my ear holes is, look, if she gets in, SCOTUS is now hers. We had Antonin Scalia before to stop. He was a stopgap for these kind of things. If she gets in power, Antonin is gone. She's just going to use them to push anything through. And everyone's vulnerable. Housewives, prisoners, people on welfare, everyone's screwed if she controls SCOTUS. Oh, well, I don't know about people who are pro-Second Amendment. They got guns. Maybe they won't be screwed, but everyone else is going to have to kowtow to the dictator. And that's what I got from it.
But now, that's not what his own campaign said they meant. And they don't really get it clear. Now, I don't think he meant kill.
What does his own campaign say they meant?
They said it was about the power of unity and voting.
Okay.
So it's not exactly what you're saying, and I don't think he was calling. Here's the deal. I agree with you. I don't think he was saying kill Hillary Clinton.
No, of course not. He was saying that gun lobby is more effective than the children's rights lobby because they're better equipped to handle despots.
But
the media turned it into an assassination attempt. Esquire magazine said, okay, that's it. The election is over starting today,
right.
Which a lot of women fall for. But no one will go for no one is talking about the 4 enemies of Clinton who died in the past.
Oh, people are talking about it everywhere. And I've said on this show, I don't get anywhere near conspiracy theories. If you check the archives, the only one that I even consider entertaining is the Clinton body count because it is fascinating. It's fascinating. And there's a lot of false memes going around about these 4 deaths recently. For example, was it John Black guy? He wasn't about to testify against Hillary, so we have to correct that. So
there's the DNC staffer guy.
There's a lot of it that's misinformation, but
like what? The
guy was not the what's the black guy's name? Not Jon Snow. I'm mixing up with, but it sounds like that black guy. And if you see the information, they said he was going to testify against Hillary that day. That wasn't happening. He wasn't ever going to be testifying against Hillary, though he did die.
But he did drop a barbell on his neck and choked himself to death, as many weightlifters are wont to do. It happens over
actually a
one
dumbbell,
time
which is even harder. I don't even know how you drop a dumbbell on your neck. Gavin McInnes show at compoundmedia.com. His time is valuable, so we're just going to boot him. Compoundmedia.com. Check out his show, and we'll have him back here, and I don't know, maybe he'll be happier. He gets kind of moody. I think he's hungry.
This is New York City. This is called cheery discourse.
Oh, no. No pants. And now, John Stossel debates Cenk Uygur. Uygur. Is it Cenk? Cenk, all I'm saying is the Armenian genocide is a verifiable historical fact.
Okay, listen, I said that maybe, all right, like, I don't know maybe enough. You try to bring it up to try and embarrass me. Okay, of course, when I was young, I wrote that.
Oh, I'm not bringing it up to be unreasonable. I think it's indicative of your lack of reasoning skills.
Oh, okay, right. Like, listen, we'll try to have reasonable discussion, okay? Did I make a mistake? Oh, this is what he does, right? Like, he made a mistake. Of course I made a mistake, okay? All right, John, you ate a child.
What? Stay tuned for more John Stossel. New chapter, second hour. That was Gavin McInnes. Lively chat on the Twitter.
Yes.
And AR15.com, one of our wonderful sister sites over there. Wonderful supporters over there. Producing with me in studio, as always, is Not Gay Jared. Follow him on Twitter at Not Gay Jared. He's not gay, doesn't like men, any of that stuff. I fulfill my legal obligations. I don't care if you draw my own conclusions. Ben Shapiro coming up in a couple of segments. Right now, why are you laughing?
I know what's coming up.
Oh.
Are you looking for what's coming up? I know what's coming up.
You know what's coming up.
I know
so we said we needed a longer segment, so we should just get into this right away. Corin Gaines is the lady who we talked about last week, who was shot in her apartment by the Baltimore PD. She was killed. Thankfully, her son, who she used as a human meat shield, is fine. Big outrage from Black Lives Matter. We wrote about it. 3-hour standoff. You aim a loaded shotgun at cops. At a certain point, I don't have that much sympathy. But the point I was making was that Black Lives Matter is clearly scraping the bottom of the barrel when they use this woman and they trot her out there. Well, here's the deal. There's been footage. It's been put up. It's been removed. It's been put back up. So we've archived it. Hopefully it doesn't get removed again. Of this same woman pulled over only a couple weeks ago for a traffic violation. No tags. And it's a 20-minute video. We have it at louderwithcrowder.com. But a lot of people haven't seen it or aren't aware of it. When we posted it, it only had like 50,000 plays. Whereas the story, when it broke, was absolutely everywhere, #1 trend. So these are the police officers pulling her over. I want to give you a bunch of clips, as much context as possible. Go watch the full video, and let's start.
But
it
enjoy
off.
the censored version.
Yes, the censored version. Go ahead.
Is there a crime being committed?
Can you tell me one more? Yeah, you don't have a driver's license. You don't have a tag.
Okay, who are you?
I am the Baltimore County Police Department.
Okay, so let me inform you of who I am.
Who are you?
I do not participate in any of you guys' side laws and things like that. I don't participate.
Well, if she chooses not to participate. So here's the deal. There are sovereign citizens out there, is what they call themselves. The Moors are some black groups who just simply they refuse to take part in our current legal system, but they're driving on public roads. And she just thinks, well, I'm not participating in your system. Imagine being a cop having to deal with that. Okay, no tags. Listen, we're just trying to make a routine traffic stop. I will participate with no law and order. So that's how it's starting off. I want you to be the judge as to whether this officer seems like he's trying to be reasonable, trying to be kind to her. Let's go to the next clip.
Have any tag on
Sir, you have yet to identify yourself.
I'm a Baltimore County Police officer.
Okay, can I see some ID, please?
What kind of ID would you like?
I would like to see a picture of you and also a delegation of... Sure,
Okay.
and a delegation of authority order.
And then will you give me my...
That is what authorizes you to be in... Okay,
So
no,
that's
not
ID.
a delegation of authority order.
Listen, okay. He shows her ID. You do have the right to ask a police officer for ID. As a matter of fact, often police officers will send out notices saying, hey, make sure the police officer identifies himself because you've had cop impersonators. That happened in our county. They said people are in falsely marked police vehicles and pulling people over. So please ask the officer for ID. Happens all the time. You're well within your right. Delegation of authority. First off, she says delegation of authority order, which she clearly doesn't know what that means. But a lot of these people, if you look in the videos, they say, I want your delegation of authority. That's a concept. It's like saying, I want your world peace slip and eternal happiness. They can't give it to you. Delegation of authority order. This is the process where this is what happens when a police becomes legally recognized as a guardian of the law, enforcer of the law. It occurs. Delegation of authority, which allows them to get their police ID. It's like passing the driver's test. You have your license. It'd be like saying, sir, if a cop said, sir, may I have your driver's test? Well, here's my license. I want to see your test. I want to see the multiple choice question.
What's that Scantron?
Scantron with the #2 pencil. And here's what I love. She just gets, we'll go through more and more clips, but what breaks your heart, and this is a clear open and shut child abuse case. That's why I think the cops were there, and you'll see it. She keeps going on. She gets more and more angry, more and more rude, more and more threatening. And her son even says this.
This was being nice.
Mm-hmm. Me, right? Yeah, we're going to show this.
Look at her. She's a narcissist looking at herself. Doesn't care about her. He just was being nice, which is important because then he's saying that. That's before being brainwashed. Now, remember, this is the outrage of Black Lives Matter. This is the best example. They trotted this woman out. This is important to note. They trot her out. If people are just being dropped like flies left and right, why don't you bring out anyone who was simply and just got capped because he was a black guy from the cops? This is who you pick because this is all you have. Your claims are false. It does not happen. This is what the boy said before he was being brainwashed, and she got upset. So she turned to him and made sure that he didn't think for a second that this officer was nice. This is what happened.
This car, we'll take your seatbelt off. You do not get out this car. Do you understand? Yes. You better fight they asses. Fight them. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Fight their asses. It's who's he gonna fight? 5 years old for crying. This is just child abuse. And then you get to realize how mentally unstable she is. Let's go to the
I'll leave it with your copies. All right, you got it. Since you've been charged with citation, so you can read it at a later date.
I just want my information.
Here's your license back, and here's your.
Thank you. And where are my car keys?
We're waiting for the tow. Okay. So
tow truck.
I would right now get all your stuff out.
Illegal.
Okay, where are my car keys?
We have to give them to the tow truck driver. We'll take the car key off and give you the rest of the keys. Okay.
I want my car keys now.
Is she not the 5-year-old?
That's fine.
So what? If you don't get out when the tow truck driver gets here, you'll be placed under arrest. Okay.
Okay.
And what do you
Listen, you're not going to kidnap me, so get ready for it. You can go ahead. Listen, you're not going to kidnap me. I've never been arrested. I'm not committing a crime. There is no victim here.
We can come back. You don't obey the law. That's why you've never been arrested. You're not going to kidnap me. And then right away, it starts to escalate. We'll just roll a couple more of these clips, Jared, and then we'll go to the last one. I don't think we have how much time do we have in this segment?
5 minutes.
Okay, let's go to the next clip.
They know what they're doing, and they will have to
Talking
kill
to a
me
5-year-old.
today.
No, nobody wants to
They will have to. They will have to, in front of my children and everything.
You're going
That's,
to jail, right?
listen,
No, nobody wants to kill you. You know you're going to jail, right? So let's be clear as to what's happened at this point. Driving without tags, no insurance, I don't even think a license plate if you hear the officers. Completely illegally.
Yeah, it sounds like nothing.
Refuses to comply, refuses to shut off the car. The cops have been very nice. She gets out of the car and runs or walks briskly. I don't want to be misquoted, toward the cop car at this point. And they're saying, please just get out of the car. Nobody wants to kill you. They're going to kidnap me. They're going to kidnap me. Go to the next clip.
What do you want us to do with your children? You know we're going to send them to a social worker, right?
Okay.
They're trying to be as nice as possible.
Listen, my daughter breastfeeds. My son is it's okay.
That's why hospitals and social
it's okay.
services and
Right. All right. That's fine.
All right, let's go to the next clip. This is important. The next clip. Let's cut that short, Jared.
Ain't no victim here, and there's no fucking crime going on.
It is a crime.
It is not a crime. That's bull.
On the contrary.
Listen to this.
It's all for y'all to get money, and I don't participate in the shit. And y'all not gonna get a fucking dime out me. I'ma sue the shit out of y'all though, and y'all gonna pay for this shit. And y'all gonna pay my kids for the rest of their fucking life for this shit.
Ah, there it is.
I hope so too.
There it is. Is it racist for me to say you're a leech? Not all black people, just you. Just you and anyone who thinks that that's a valid response. You gonna pay my kids for the rest of their lives. Imagine what you're teaching this young boy. He wants to understand that these police officers are good people. By the way, she looks like she's in a Lexus, an all-leather interior. And how much you want to bet she's not breaking any... Well, actually, you are breaking the law. It's not a victimless crime. You have insurance to help other people. How much you want to bet if she rear-ends people while she's farting in the car with her makeup and her hair? How much you want to bet that she's the first person who would drive off and not give you the information? Does she seem like a responsible citizen who would say, oh, my God, let me take care of you. Let me make sure that you're okay? I very much doubt it. Let me see what we have here. All right, let's go to the clip, not the next one, the one after that.
What did I just tell you?
Don't cry.
I just want to
Don't cry, and you better fight.
You better fight them. Here's something that happens too in the full video. The cop tries to take the baby out because a tow truck's coming. And here's something very important. This is such a horrible mother. She grabs the kid's legs and tries to rip her from the cop's arm. The cop, the evil, mean white cop, who's pulling her over and simply being abusive, lets go because he doesn't want the girl to be hurt. This woman was willing to hurt her children and put them in harm's way at this incident before she used him as a human meat shield. And the police officer let her take the child so that the child wouldn't be harmed. It couldn't possibly be more clear. Is the next one that you see what they want to do to us?
I think so.
Okay, let's.
They are not for us.
Okay.
They want to kill us. And you never, ever back down from them.
Okay.
We don't want to kill you.
Back down from them.
Okay.
We don't want to kill you. We're your friends. We're here
Do
to
you
help
believe that?
No.
Oh, okay.
Look at that. That's just, it breaks my heart. Listen, if someone is out there and wants to foster this kid, I really think you could teach this kid about family, freedom, country, and teach them how to question authority appropriately, teach them how to respect authority when appropriate. This would be a great turnaround, a fantastic turnaround story. Let me give you one more that I thought was pretty telling here. Go to the next clip.
He's seen videos of you shooting people that look like his father and so don't even talk to him.
Really? Where's the father? Because I read the report with the other felon in your house, there was a warrant out for his arrest. That wasn't the father. Where's the father? That boy probably be better off with the father. Let's go to the last clip.
Ma'am, you still have a chance to get out of your vehicle and walk home with your children. It's right, you live in Carrickville, which is right there. I'm giving you that opportunity right now.
That's the takeaway.
You understand?
This is an example of police officers whose names have been tarred and feathered all the way, by the way, on Twitter, social media, saying ma'am after everything, threatening them, yelling, saying she's going to take their jobs, abusing children in front of them, ripping children from the arms of police officers. He's saying, listen, please, I'm giving you one more chance here. Walk away. Walk away. Black Lives Matter, you have that chance. After Dallas, after an unbelievable record rate scene of violence against police officers, you have that chance now to walk away, to take ownership, to stop it, and to try and create some healing. We're giving you that last chance as citizens of the United States. We'll be back.
Greetings, America. Last we left you, I had made the major announcement, which dominated the news waves for all week in announcing my vice presidential candidate, Dean Cain. In the coming weeks, Dean Cain will issue his own statements and positions on policy and Jesus. So I think you can really look forward to that. But many of you know Dean Cain as your beloved Superman, or Clark Kent, on the famous 1990s show, Lois and Clark. However, many of you may not know that he had a storied athletic career before that, coming to its crescendo as an all-star football player at Princeton.
Dean Cain, the free safety, their best defensive player, number 11.
Oh, sweet Lord, that man hits like a freight train. And Dean Cain will hit like a freight train for America. The choice is becoming clear, America. When your owners take you to walk into the ballot box, vote Hopper Cain 2016.
All right. The double secret patriarchy meeting is now in session. First item of business. It is very important that we make sure women don't catch on to the fact that marriage is nothing more than glorified rape. So please keep that under your hats, shall you?
Yeah,
absolutely. Of course, yeah. All right. On to item number 2. We need unified standards on what will be determined as the most recent oppressive standards of beauty that we don't even like. Anybody have suggestions?
Yeah, me.
Yes, Bradley.
Yeah, I was just thinking maybe we could, tell women, or the people who do the magazines, that we like bigger breasts and nice bodies.
Even though we don't like any of those things. Brilliant, Bradley. That will really screw with their heads. Anyone else?
Yeah, over here.
Yes, Phil Cool.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe we tell people that we like women more, who are
how much time do we have?
More nurturing and good as
about a minute 10.
Okay. Even though clearly men are not attracted to any of those qualities in the
Oh,
opposite
sweet.
sex. Good
You think
thinking,
people catch
Phil.
on to
We'll
the
be sure to maintain our
I don't know. I think some people.
Okay, one more. Yes, you in the back there, Perry.
How about we put out the
Seems like
notion
they just
that we like our women?
caught on. But I'm looking
So
at
I
it
know
right now,
they see the rumors and they
Oh,
see
that's
what we're saying.
glorious. Even
And,
though men clearly like
I
women
think
who
s- I
look
think some
like
of them
androgynous
do,
little
but I
boys,
don't-
we'll tell them
it's-
that we prefer them looking
tough to
feminine.
measure on
Oh,
Twitter.
that'll be sure to get their goats
sarcasm's a
and
lot
grind their gears. Well, I think
you
we have a
do
lot
that?
to work
Because
with this
some
week.
people don't know how to do
Refreshments
it.
are in the back,
People
but
are
keep it
fans
to
of
a
stuff sometimes to say
2-per-person
things and
maximum. Double
for the
secret
elements.
patriarchy meeting is adjourned. See you next Tuesday. We are back. That's Hopper growling for freedom. He loves freedom.
Oh, it just digs it hard.
The dog can't get enough of the freedom.
enough.
We're going to get to our next guest here real quick, but we're just talking about that. A lot of people were lighting the Twitter up on the Corrin Gaines. Those cops were much nicer to her because she was a black woman. Me, as a 220-pound male, I would have been tased so quickly, and nobody would have been surprised. It would have been, here's your ticket. No. And everyone would have told the story for the rest of all time. Did you hear what happened with Crowder? What happened? They gave him a ticket and he said no. What do you mean he said no? Naturally, they beat the crap out of him afterward. Well, of course, that's the progression of things. But he said no to a ticket? It wouldn't even mean no, and it wouldn't be a headline because people would be thrilled.
Something I can think about was, you talk about the father thing. What kind of mother is showing these videos to a 5-year-old son?
A mother who wants to brainwash an entire generation into hating cops. It's so sad. It's so sad that I'm sorry. I'm not going to apologize anymore. That Black America today in 2016 has been set so far behind when you compare it to my parents' generation. When you compare it to even when we were kids, that 80s, 90s generation. They are more entitled and they've been more brainwashed now because of mothers like this, and it is terrible. All right, we do have a guest here on the line. This is a treat. We get him every now and then. We get these exclusives with people in high positions of authority, and he is the official Olympics social relations czar. Is it James? Is it?
Yeah. Hey, Stephen. Thanks for having me on again. It's always a pleasure.
No, we're glad to have you on. Always good to have a czar on, and appreciate you making a stop on our little podcast here. So you're in Rio for the Olympics, correct?
Oh, yes. I'm in Rio, and it's been a really great time. I touched the ground last week, and other than, accidentally drinking the water, it's been good ever since.
It's been good. Have you been enjoying the culture there?
Oh, yes, I have. I've been enjoying much of the culture. The Olympic Village is just fantastic. It's like a Spring Break Van Wilder film.
Well, that doesn't seem very professional.
Well, it's the perks that come with the gig,
Well, I guess okay. We don't want to delve too much into that. So, what are you here to report for us? There've been a lot going on. Obviously, the issues with the Lebanese and the Jewish bus situation we talked about, the Islamic rape. Been a lot of newsworthy stories. What's going on?
Yes, lots and lots of things happening this week. But of those that you mentioned, you forgot to mention the most noteworthy story of the week.
And what is that?
Well, I was at the swim meet, and I don't know if you knew this, but the entire swim meet was boycotted by Black Lives Matter.
Really? I'm surprised we didn't hear about it. Did you hear? We haven't covered this on the site.
Usually McBrody catches those ones.
Usually he catches those ones. What did they give a reason as to why they're boycotting?
No reason at all. They just did not show up to the event to compete at all. All of them just decided to stay home and protest. It's sensational.
I've not seen any sources on this story. Are you sure about it?
Oh, yes. I was there today. I was the guy on the ground. I saw it with my own eyes.
Well, what did you see?
Well, I didn't see any African Americans, and they just decided to stay home.
Well, they're not. Well, yeah, African Americans. I mean, at the Olympics, they don't necessarily have to be. We African Canadians.
Well, yeah, no, there's no African Canadians, no Africans.
So no black people of any kind.
No, not a single.
But that doesn't mean a boycott. Are you just saying this because there are no black people competing in the swimming events?
No, come on, Stephen, come on, okay? It's very clear that there are tons of very talented black swimming athletes. They just decided to not show up in protest.
Okay. I would like to see a source on this. I think you might be misled because of notable absence. I don't think you're correct on this, James.
I assure you I am very correct.
Well,
even in the stands.
This is anecdotal. That's not proof. All right. Well, we'll keep us abreast on this. Is there anything else that happened there that we need to know about?
Other than me not having a solid bowel movement in a week.
All right.
That's
all right,
much
James.
the only
Thank
thing
you very much,
report.
James. We got to let you go. We appreciate it. James, the official Olympic social relations czar.
Did you vet?
I didn't. Did you not screen him?
Well, I thought email said you were going to. So I just assumed.
I don't think
your
that's
show.
accurate at all. There is a no. There, I can understand how one would get confused with a notable absence.
Yeah.
Is there any way we can just wash that segment out?
We probably should.
We probably should. How much longer do we have until we get to it?
Yeah, we got 2.5 here. 2 minutes.
We really didn't explain. Oh God. Okay. Well, let's talk more about the. This is a story that happened in the news that was pretty funny and completely unrelated to the Olympics. Bernie Sanders. Do you know about this one?
I do know about this one.
All right. What's going on with you?
I remember when I passed this one along for the site. I remember I first saw the headline and I thought this is rich.
All right. Well, I've got it here on my screen. We have it up at louderwithcrowder.com. Bernie Sanders just ended his campaign for socialism. For democratic socialism! To buy his third home.
He celebrated in style.
Buying a $600,000 lakefront property. Here's the deal. I have nothing against. I know people are going to say, why do you care if you're a Republican, if you're a capitalist? I don't. I really don't care if someone wants to buy a third home. I don't care if someone wants to. A $600,000 house at his age is not that extravagant. Although I know the exact place where he bought his home on Lake Champlain because I was raised in Montreal. I used to go there all the time. First off, it's very suspicious that he gets a 500 feet of lakefront property for $600,000, and it's his third home, half hour away from his house. There's nothing wrong with it except for the fact that Bernie Sanders has never made an honest dollar. He's never lived any other way outside of suckling off the government teat. And there are so many questions. Did he pay cash? If he was running for president out of the goodness of his own heart, was he taking any money?
In fairness, I heard that he started a Kickstarter afterwards to raise awareness for social justice issues.
$600,000
and to furnish the place.
To furnish the place. It's one of those things you just can't write it. I get it. It's not just about hypocrisy. This is about a guy who is worth millions of dollars, and none of these people live what they believe, and that's fine. Just don't tell us that you need to legislate it for us. That's the issue. A $600,000, 20 minutes from your house. That's not a vacation home. Your relatives can still find you. Up next, Ben Shapiro making his case for why not Trump. Stay tuned.
Be good.
And now, John Stossel reads nursery rhyme. Jack be nimble, Jack be quick. Jack jumped over the candlestick. To hear the media tell it, Jack called Halliburton and gave all the money to his rich friends. Stay tuned for more John Stossel.
Wake up, it's fly.
Reach the wizard.
It's fly. Wake up,
Stop it. This is a respectable guest, not gay Jared.
Get that out of
Sitting
here.
there,
Get that out of
immensely
here.
uncomfortable. So we had the pro-Trump on the
got
first
really
hour,
weird.
and now we have the other side of the coin. I'll let him describe it. Ben Shapiro Show at dailywire.com, friend of the program. Ben, thanks for being here.
Well, yeah, thanks for having me. Just the image of you dancing to that is disturbing enough that it will take me a while to get that out of my mind, unfortunately.
It's by design.
It's by design, and he doesn't even know that we often don't wear pants in the studio.
That was unnecessary as well.
It's a policy. It's a policy we have here. What is your description? How do you feel about Donald Trump?
Oh, I mean, I have a couple descriptions. What I feel about Donald Trump is what Rabbit feels about Tigger in the Winnie the Pooh books. Like, I want to take him out to the forest while it's real foggy and then just sort of sneak away. And then he's just lost in the fog somewhere.
Was that in the
and he
Pooh
doesn't make his
movie
way
that I
home.
missed?
Yeah, you're missing all the cool movies. You're missing, the hardcore R-rated Winnie the Pooh movies. But
Yes.
yeah, when you have small kids, your frame of reference tends to shift dramatically. It used to be Terminator references, and now it's Winnie the Pooh and Rapunzel.
Winnie the Pooh and Rapunzel, which was gross abuse to women. They were literally yanking at her scalp. They were just, throw down your hair.
Disgusting.
Throw down your hair, bitch.
Disgusting.
I'm gonna climb. It's horrible when you think about it. So you're not a fan of Donald Trump. We had Glenn Beck on last week, and people were furious. Here's the deal, though. I do think...
No, people were furious with the anti-Trump people? No!
Right.
I can't believe it. That's crazy.
Well, Gavin kind of laid out his case for Trump. Okay, big thing this week. So let's get into what happened this week. The Second Amendment quote. What do you think about that? Do you think the media is going to go wall to wall and it's somewhat unfair? Do you think he was calling for an assassination? What's your interpretation there?
Okay, so two things. One, the media always goes wall to wall. They are always unfair, and you're an idiot if you step on the rake anyway. Right? You know that the rake's going to come up and hit you. So if
Fair.
you step on the rake, that's your problem.
Mhm.
Like Reagan faced this, Ford faced this, probably at some point Calvin Coolidge faced this. I mean, at a certain point, you just sort of assume the normal is that you're going to get clocked by the media. So your first order of business is don't jump on the landmine. And if you are going to jump on the landmine, try not to do it with both feet at the same time. But Trump is constantly jumping from landmine to landmine like a cartoon character. So that's the first thing about this. The second thing is what he actually said. What annoys me about this is not like I think that he was calling for Hillary's assassination. I don't think anybody is sitting around going, maybe the media are overplaying this, and yes, he really wants Hillary Clinton to be shot. Why? She went to his wedding. They seem like friends. No, what he actually was saying, what he was actually saying is the same thing that stupid people always say about Second Amendment advocates, which is if you don't do what Second Amendment advocates want, those Second Amendment advocates are going to grab their AR-15s. We're all sitting in our basements oiling them, just waiting for the Supreme Court to do the wrong thing. They're going to go to Washington, D.C. We're going to station ourselves in the trees, right around.
What were they, Keebler elves?
Yeah, exactly. The Keebler elves, the evil Keebler elves. Yeah, that's right. And so the problem with Trump is that he speaks conservatism as a second language. It's like ESL out here, English as a second language. He speaks conservatism as a second language. So, the only reason Second Amendment advocates, I like that we're Second Amendment people, like we're our own separate tribe, we're like the Cherokee, the Second Amendment people.
We don't consider you among us because you're in California. You can't even get the full capacity magazine, so don't try.
That's true. Well, we're an adjunct society, so the Second Amendment people, we're like the uncool members of the tribe.
Yeah.
They put us out in the forest, but we didn't have the spirit dream.
You're like John Kasich showing up to the party with a case of Zima. We're like, we'll allow it, but we're not happy with it.
That's exactly right. So in any case, the only reason, I mean, you're a gun owner, I'm a gun owner. The only reason we would go hog wild on the authorities is if there was a law passed to confiscate all the weapons and they came to our house and tried to take the weapons. Right? If there were a judicial decision overruling Heller, we wouldn't head over to Washington, D.C. and try and track down Elena Kagan.
Well,
Nobody's
hold on a
talking
second.
about that.
I wouldn't, but I have seen people defending that position. And we talked. This is something that's important. I want to interject because people will get really mad about this. I've talked about this on the show, and I said, we do have to admit that at some point an armed insurrection, at some point, is reasonable. And I said, what is it for me? And I said on the show, I think for me would be if they get to the point of collecting guns door to door. I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility. Now, I wouldn't say that as far as taking out someone in the middle of an election. I don't think we're there yet. But I think, like you said, I don't think Donald Trump meant that. I think it's more so there wasn't a lot of thought given beforehand. Maybe he was tired.
No. Donald Trump said something without a lot of thought? No.
Yes, but we both admit I don't think he was calling.
Metamucil of the mind, my friend.
Well, I don't think... Again, there are a lot of things I don't like about him, but when I turned to Jared, I said, as soon as he said that, I said, this could be the nail in the coffin politically. I said, I don't think that's what he meant, but I certainly can see how
doesn't matter, though. Doesn't matter
at that point.
Well, right. How it's perceived, and the big problem that Trump has is people think he's crazy. I mean, this is what the polls show, is that people think he's a nut job. And the way that you underscore that you're not a nut job is by not saying things like this, regardless of whether you meant it or not, or whether it was a joke or not. And he knows they're out to get him anyway. But I'm with you. I mean, as far as armed insurrection, they come door to door. That's a different thing than the Supreme Court saying that Heller no longer applies, because even if you overrule Heller, just legally speaking, you would then have to pass a federal law to confiscate all the weapons, or a state law. And by the way, I don't think that Greg Abbott and his Texas Air National Guard armed with nuclear weapons is going to sit around while the federal government comes in and tries to take everybody's gun in the state of Texas. I really don't think that's how these things go.
No. I think it would be a civil war at that point, but like you said, I think there'd be a lot more than just people with their firearms. I also would take it one step further. People saying, you think you with your AR are going to you're going to give a fight to the government with drones? Yes, absolutely. I really do. But what are they going to do? Destroy all their resources and nuke the whole country? At some point, they have to go into houses, and it's a lot harder to. I mean, look at Iraq. These people have firecrackers.
The same people on the left who are constantly saying, well, we got run out of Vietnam by these people with primitive resources say, well, when you have a country of 300 million guns with 100 million gun owners, and they're all American citizens, yeah, no, they're totally going to get wiped out by the government. No, they wouldn't. But, the fact that we even have to think along these lines, obviously, is very frightening. And that, I think, is what Trump should have said. I mean, if Trump wanted to say something intelligent, non-Trumpian, then what he should have said is, if you have a candidate like Hillary Clinton who has endorsed Australian gun confiscation, that's a very dangerous precedent that you're setting, because there are gun owners in this country who legally own their arms, and they own them for a reason, because the Second Amendment is designed to preserve the Second Amendment. That's what it's for.
Sure.
And so if she actually tried to implement something like that, things would get very ugly in this country very quickly. But instead, he sort of implied that if there was a judicial decision, then people would sort of take her out or take the Supreme Court out. Is it a serious thing? No. But, and again, I find it ridiculous that the left is making a huge deal out of this when in 2009 you have Barack Obama openly joking about auditing people with the IRS, and his IRS was actively auditing conservative groups at the time and trying to shut them down, and the media were like, oh, no big deal.
Yeah, I think you're right. Let me ask you this. I've said this while we're on the subject. I have never even come close to touching a conspiracy theory. I've talked about this with Gavin, except for the Clinton body count. I find it fascinating. I think when you take it all together, do you entertain that? You're like, yeah, I can see something having happened there.
No, I think, first of all, typically, here's the thing about assassinations. Typically, if somebody gets assassinated, everybody knows about it. Like, really, secret assassinations are extraordinarily rare. Right? When somebody gets assassinated, it's because a president gets hit with a bullet in front of everyone in the city of Dallas. Right? Or Leon Trotsky takes one in the eyeball from an ice pick. The whole point of an assassination is to convey to people that if you cross us, we're going to murder you.
Right.
The point of the assassination is not we're going to secretly slip, like, it's not an Agatha Christie mystery. It's not like, okay, we're going to slip the hemlock in his coffee, and then he's just going to have something that looks like a heart attack, but is it really a heart attack? Like, that's not typically how assassinations are done. If you're going to assassinate somebody, you do it like Putin does, right? You slip polonium in their drink, and then they die irradiating everyone around them for 30 miles. The idea, if the Clintons were going to kill people, first of all, if they were going to kill people, I don't think they would start with low-level Democrat staffers after they've already delivered the process. Right? Like, that doesn't, like, these are the wrong people to kill. Even if you're on the Clintons are killing people bandwagon, like, I could see Sidney Blumenthal killing people in Libya. I mean, the man did business in Libya, and people getting killed in Libya all the time. That I could see.
Right.
But like Hillary Clinton killing people domestically, I'm not a big buyer of the kind of Hollywood mythos of
though we have had some stories when we
people.
talked with Governor Huckabee off air. Not Gay Jared knows what I'm talking about. And we were like they've done some, obviously in Arkansas. And he gave us a couple stories where I've never known him to exaggerate those kinds of things, or not an assassination, but certainly beyond politics as usual.
Well, I mean, I could certainly see Mike Huckabee taking out the manager of a Dunkin' Donuts for what's behind the counter, but that's a whole different thing.
Stop it! Stop it! He's a nice man, Ben Shapiro.
For a Jew, he knows a lot about murdering people.
What does that have to do with being Jewish? The IDF does that.
Well, first of all, not Gay Jared, I would like to thank you for saying that Jews don't know a lot about murdering people, considering the long and inglorious history of accusations against my people. So
Exactly.
He's giving you the benefit of the doubt.
That's what I'm here for.
It's reverse anti-Semitism.
I appreciate it. Thank you. That's kind of you.
This took a weird turn. Okay, so talking about this,
it always does. I mean, come on.
Yes, it always does. Well, we had Gavin on, and people, I will say this. I've talked about this. It's one where I've been honest. I genuinely don't know. I go back and forth. I'm like, God, the Supreme Court. I understand it. We've talked about this last time, and I think a lot of people have a perception of you that you toss all the Trump voters in the same lot. Whereas there are a lot of Trump voters we both agreed. Like, I understand them saying he's better than Hillary. I can also understand
100%.
People saying long term it could be worse. And when I think about the Supreme Court, do you ever have those nights where you're like, gosh, with the Supreme Court, I'm going to have to pull the lever for Trump?
Of course. Yeah. I mean, pretty much every morning I wake up thinking, am I making the right call here? And I have to do the calibration and recalculation all over again.
Yeah.
The problem with a risk calculation like this is it's an actual risk calculation. There are risks and there are rewards. And what I'm getting on both sides, and this is what irritates me, is there's this sense of kind of surety. There's this sense of just assurance that what I'm doing is 100% the right thing. It's an easy call, right? You get from a lot of the Trump supporters. It's an easy call. Of course you vote for Hillary. Of course you vote for Trump to stop Hillary. Of course you do that. And then I get from a lot of the never Trump people, well, he's totally unqualified for office. Of course you can't vote for him. And where I fall is on both of those sides. I totally get voting for Trump over Hillary. I totally get that Trump is unqualified. The reason that I personally have no plans to vote for Donald Trump is because what I've watched, and I think it's happening in real time, is people who I respect, people who are good conservatives, now twisting and contorting themselves to cover for Donald Trump's lies. And that has an impact right now and down the road. Donald Trump is pulling 9% among people under the age of 30. An entire generation of Americans are, he's now running fourth in polls among people who are under the age of 30.
Yeah.
You're taking an entire generation of Americans and you're telling them that they're wrong about not just conservatism, they're wrong about everything. And you're expecting that to bear dividends next time around? Like, here's the question that I ask a lot of Trump supporters who are ardent Trump supporters, because I do separate them into two categories.
Well, like we had Gavin on, and Gavin gave some ground, just like you're giving some ground here. It's really hard to find guests like this on the Trump issue. It really is.
Yeah. I mean, I think that there's two groups of Trump people. There's hold your nose and vote Trump. I get it. And then there are the ardent, Trump is going to save the world, Trump's great, he's really conservative, he's the most conservative ever, he's the great god, or the orange god king, and then this whole shtick. And those people I have no truck with. I mean, that, like, really, that's you're either stupid or you're deceiving yourself, because it's obvious that he's not conservative. If you can acknowledge his flaws and then say, okay, but he's better than Hillary, I understand the argument. I think that you may be discounting the long-term damage of supporting this guy because you're failing to understand what happens if he loses by 10. Like, this is the question nobody on the Trump train wants to answer. What happens if he loses? What comes next?
I was talking with Gavin about this, just from a purely strategic standpoint. Donald Trump's main thing in the primaries were polls, and everyone's saying, no, he's a media guy. He gets it, right? And a lot of people cited Andrew Breitbart because he talked about culture being upstream from politics. I agree. So they were saying, look at the polls, and he's the one who gets media. They're not going to be able to catch him. Well, today, the polls are rigged and the media is rigged. His two biggest selling points are gone, and nobody talks about that on the Trump thing. From a strategic standpoint, I just don't. I don't see it getting better, and I don't see him addressing it.
I think he's going to get clobbered. I think he's going to get clobbered because he has no capacity to stay on message. And he would make it, I've been saying for a long time, if all Trump did after the convention was just get up there every day and say Hillary, Hillary, Hillary from then until the election, it makes it very difficult for people like me who think that Trump is a real blot on conservatism not to come around to, okay, we at least have to vote for him because he's not Hillary, right? That's his strongest pitch, and even he acknowledges that.
Right.
But unfortunately, he's not making that pitch. He's making, the pitch against Ted Cruz and John Kasich for no reason.
Well, everyone makes a case against John Kasich, and with good reason.
Well, that's true, too. Yeah, that guy's awful.
I brought Zima, you guys. Get out, John Kasich. We will be back with more Ben Shapiro. Ben Shapiro Show on DailyWire.com. Stay tuned and hold the anti-Semitic remarks. Send them to Not Gay Jared. He's the one who's earned them tonight.
For breaking news on Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson. We take you now live to a Donald Trump rally where he is giving an impromptu speech on the 2016 Rio Olympics.
Okay, listen, we're doing okay in the Olympic Games, okay? We're great, we're the best. But we could be doing better, right? We could be doing better. For example, okay, when I'm president with the Olympic Games, all right, no more Chinese divers, okay? We're gonna get killed. We're gonna get killed by the China and the diving and all the Chinese. Okay? They're taking. Let me tell you, folks. Okay? They have won every single medal. All right? In the last, 50 years. The Chinese diving. They're hiring. They're getting girls there. We're 6. They're passing them off. It's not even illegal. Okay? So when America has our people in the Olympics, okay? No more China at the diving. No more 6-year-olds in the China. And we're gonna have Donald Trump is gonna make sure that our divers will be 4'6", 7-year-olds.
We'll keep you abreast as the story unfolds. For Louder with Crowder, I'm Perry Matheson.
When it's time to party, we will party hard.
Glad to be back. I don't know where that dancing took a weird direction.
It always does.
Ben Shapiro Show at DailyWire.com. Thank you for staying, sir. A far cry from the Ben Shapiro Show here. You were talking about this before, the Hillary thing. We went through Hillary's recent tweets over the last, would you say, Not Gay Jared, you did this, month?
Well, yeah, a month, a few weeks.
Versus
like that.
Donald Trump. Everything from Hillary is Trump, hammering him. Whereas more of his, a majority of his, were hammering someone other than Hillary.
Or congratulating himself.
Or yes, well, yeah, but we eliminated those because that changes the mean result. So, and I've said that all the time, and people, I said, I think you'll find Donald Trump will be remarkably soft on Hillary. Do you think we're seeing that?
I do. I think that it largely has to do with the fact that he doesn't see Hillary as his actual enemy. He sees the people who don't take him seriously as his enemies. So people who are in the Never Trump movement, those are his enemies. Ted Cruz is his enemy. Paul Ryan is his enemy for not jumping with more alacrity aboard the Trump train, even though he endorsed him. These are all his enemies because they don't believe in him, right? But Hillary is not really his enemy because they used to go to weddings together and they're kind of friendly, and so he doesn't really see it that way. It is amazing to me how the man has no capacity not to chase the squirrels. I mean, as I mentioned, my frame of reference is now very young, so he is the dog from Up. Somebody there's a squirrel and he must chase it. All the squirrels must be chased.
Yes.
All of them, right?
Yes.
All the rakes must be stepped on and all the squirrels must be chased. And so this is, it's a problem. To go back to the point about, what happens after this election cycle, just understand what people need to understand. We're still living down the legacy of George W. Bush in the Republican Party. Conservatives still are. Every time you say that you believe in small government, you're immediately hit with, George W. Bush's wars, and he spent a lot of money, right? You're always hit with the last guy. Right. How bad is that going to be after this election? If Donald Trump loses by 10, 15 points, and you were out there making kind of soft peddling all of the bad things about the guy, and now you're hit from the other side with, we come around 4 years from now, we got another nominee, we got somebody else out there. And they say, well, clearly, you don't care that much about how Mexican people feel because you were standing right next to Trump when he said the Mexican judge thing.
Right. The least of my problems with Donald Trump is the Mexican issue. As far as what's happened these last few weeks, honestly, I mean, the wall issue, like I said with Gavin, I'm on board with the wall if I believe it works. I believe in harsher immigration policy than Donald Trump because I believe in ones that would actually work a little bit more effectively than a wall. I come from a family, my mother was an immigrant, a legal immigrant. I have zero tolerance for illegal immigration. And I don't think Donald Trump's a racist. I really don't. I just think I don't think he's very thoughtful.
Right. And I think he's a bore. I don't think he's a racist.
Yeah, I really don't think he's a racist. I don't think we kind of the same thing that makes Hillary Clinton such a horrible person is she's so calculated. She's the ultimate politician. And the things that people like about Donald Trump that he shoots from the hip are also what they are arguing now makes him more of a liability. And I think that's a tough place to be. And I think how much of it is Donald Trump understanding that he's probably going to lose and he still has to do business in New York under Hillary Clinton presidency.
I mean, there may be some of that. The fact is that, as you say, what they've been able to do with Trump is turn his main asset into his main deficiency. So his main asset is this fact that he feels spontaneous. He feels like he's going to say anything. He'll speak the truth. And they've turned that into a deficiency now to the point where even people who are big advocates of Donald Trump, friends of mine like John Nolte, who's a huge Trump advocate, he's out there saying, Donald, get back on the teleprompter. Well, obviously, you put Donald Trump on the teleprompter, and you've taken away his main skill set, which is not being on the teleprompter. So he's boxed himself in at this point, and he was boxed in so quickly. That's what's astonishing. It's like he didn't even see it coming, and we all saw it coming, right? Even those of us who wanted Trump to win, we all knew that the media was going to shift on him on a dime as soon as the conventions were over, and he had better get his house in order.
Well, there's nothing new. The media is incredibly unfair and biased. It's just they've never had as easy of a job at doing this as they have now. I mean, Mitt Romney.
And by the way, I think this is an important thing, by the way, what you're saying, because I think that what's happening now is that the anti-media argument, which has been kind of a staple of the Republican conservative repertoire, right, where we all say the media is biased, and
it's valid.
True.
Yeah.
It's totally true. It's totally true, and it's one of the reasons we got Trump, because they tried to knock out Mitt Romney, who's legitimately one of the most classy people ever to run for president, whatever you think of him. They tried to paint him as a nut job. Who is forcibly cutting the hair of gay kids, and he's a racist, and he hates women, and all that. He puts you all back in chains. To Mitt Romney, and so they come along, they say the same things about Trump, and people go, well, you said it about Romney. We don't believe you about Trump. But the problem is that some of it is actually true about Trump, what they're saying about Trump, and so now they're actually restoring their credibility on the back of Donald Trump, which is really sad. Now we're going to have to fight the same battle all over again because they're saying some things about Trump that are not true, but they're saying some things about Trump that are actually true.
Well, let me ask you this then, to kind of get down to brass tacks. What is the scenario? I mean, there needs to be some healing, obviously, with Republicans, with conservatives. You've seen it with the Trump and the Trump situation's backlash. We've seen less since it's an entertainment program. What needs to be done here? Win, lose, or draw with this election, what do the next 4 years look like? How do Trump people and people who are not on board come together? Because they're saying they're going to hold you accountable if Hillary Clinton wins.
Well, I mean, the stab in the back theory that they're already preparing in the middle of August, I think, is good evidence that they've picked a poor candidate. I mean, like, if I warn you for months and months and months not to hit yourself in the face of the frying pan, and then you hit yourself in the face of the frying pan, that ain't my fault. That's your fault. Don't hit yourself in the face of the frying pan, you dumbass. So they spend the entire time making the case that it's my fault for telling them that it's bad that he's going to lose. Okay, there are 5 of us in the Never Trump movement, right? There's nobody is left. The people who say they're not going to vote for Trump, we're a dramatic minority, and we're shrinking because people want to side with the side. They want to play the game, and they want to fight against Hillary Clinton. I get it. I do. I understand. We need to look beyond this election cycle to actually build a movement, because what the conservative movement always does is we sort of forget about things for 3 years, and then the year before the election we get all ramped up, and this is going to be the guy who saves us all. We don't do any of the hard on-the-ground data work, going out and mining young people, getting them in our database, getting them in a system where we work with them every day, not just politically, but in helping them get jobs and in ensuring that they're integrated into a capitalist system where they know our faces, where it's, we're not a bunch of random people. That's the stuff that we need to do after the election. I do think that these wounds heal more easily than we think they do. We always think that these wounds are brutal, and like Pat Buchanan versus George H.W. Bush was brutal. Ronald Reagan versus George H.W. Bush was brutal. These things are always brutal. But I think that after this election happens, particularly if Trump loses by a large margin, if he loses by 5 votes, and there are 5 Never Trumpers, it's going to get really ugly.
Yes,
if he loses by...
We have to go to a break. We have to let you go, Ben. You should know about these things. We do have to go, but that's actually interesting. It's thinking about it, and I never thought of this. McCain-Santorum was probably the most remarkably soft primary we've had in recent years.
Yes.
Ben Shapiro, The Ben Shapiro Show at dailywire.com. If you change that dial, well, you can if you're listening online. What am I talking about? Stay tuned. It's your only choice. And now, Dinesh D'Souza orders Chipotle. Yes, so I would prefer to do the burrito, but could I do that perhaps on a salad?
Yeah, we can do that.
Fantastic. If you could take the cheese and the beans and perhaps put it in the bowl with the salad, I think I would find that preferable to...
You want guacamole?
No, I don't want guacamole. Did you hear me at any point say I wanted guacamole?
I don't know. Most people want it.
Yes, see, but I am not most people. And when you make that presumption, it assumes that I am not aware that it costs $1.50 extra.
Listen, I wasn't trying to trick you.
No, but I believe you were trying to trick me, and...
Sure, there's a really long line.
I understand there's a long line. What's that one over there?
Oh, that's our new offering, sofritas.
And what is that, perhaps?
It's tofu.
Oh, dear God, it's as I suspected.
What?
You really do hate America.
You're weird.
Yes. Stay tuned for next week when Dinesh tries Qdoba. Oh, this location most definitely has E. coli. Glad to be back. Third hour, I'm a beautiful butterfly right now. I just broke out of my cocoon is what that
I just mouthed watermelon to that one because I have no idea what the hell the lyrics are.
I don't think anybody has any lyrics. That's the point. It's abstract art.
The best.
So, thanks to Ben Shapiro. A couple of notes. It's amazing if you look at on Twitter. We've had Gavin on. We had Ben Shapiro on tonight in 100% equal time. And the Trump people are furious that Ben was even on and saying we must be getting pro-Hillary money. Listen, let me be as clear as possible.
Are you? Because I haven't
we
seen
haven't
my
seen
cut.
a single time. This is the problem with these sort of new, I guess nationalist, right-wing, whatever they want to call themselves. They have about as much of an understanding of economics as many of them come from the Bernie supporters. That's what we've seen through analytics. Trump or Bernie they're almost the same factions online. And I don't know what I'll do with. I will never.
Oh, sorry. Hold on.
Jared,
Hey.
what's up, brother? Hey, so Vegas trip. Let's do it. I'm booking it right now. I literally have the flight, everything, except I'm trying to get the seats. Are you a aisle or window guy? Or you just want to sit in the middle? You can kind of get that anytime. Oh, hold up.
This is not a good time for this right now. Dean, we talked about this. I am excited for the trip. I can't wait. But I
just pick. Window or aisle? It's getting more expensive. Just pick one.
Dean, we gotta go. I gotta go.
I'm putting you in the middle. I'll put you in the middle.
Please don't. Please, Dean. I'll call you back. Okay, call you
In the
back.
middle.
No,
Jared,
no.
Why?
I just
we scheduled him as a guest. We talked about it.
I don't want to be in the middle. All right. He does that every time.
I don't want to sour anything.
He
because
knows I
still
don't like
I know.
the middle.
I know. We'll talk about it after the show. What I was talking about with the Bernie, either Bernie or Trump people, a lot of the time, they seem to think if you're successful, some money must come from somewhere. It must come from. Listen, we don't receive any money from the Saudis, from the Ted Cruz campaign. It's unreal. It really is. And there's not much more you can. You know where I line up. I defend Trump where I can on issues, and I try and be fair on issues where I think he's wrong. I will never, ever, ever vote for Hillary Clinton. It will never happen. And I think if you feel that you should vote for Trump, you should vote for Trump. If you feel that you need to stop the Hillary train wreck, absolutely. And I think that's probably a good choice. If you're out there and you're saying, I don't know that I can do it, and this is the first time it's happened. A lot of people who couldn't stand Romney, who couldn't stand McCain, said, I can't. I don't know that I want to do it, but I can do it. If they're feeling that way with Trump, I don't know that I can do it. I understand that. I understand that too. I honestly, I try and be honest with the audience about this. I don't know. It's one of those things. It's tough. I just know I can't stand Hillary.
I sound flaky, but I honestly think I change my mind just about every day. I go back and
It
forth.
is something. It's an honest. If people are being honest with this conversation, it is hard, and it makes it hard to defend certain issues sometimes of conservatism. Like the Second Amendment. That we had a big video for this week, and it'll be next week. It's just going to be an uphill battle when this stuff happens. That I don't have time to fight because I go, oh, hold on, this isn't what I meant. Anyway, you want to talk about suicide? A lot of people were asking about Suicide Squad. You saw it. I didn't because I wanted you to waste your money.
Good news, I did. Good news, I did. I mean, I had a comfy seat, and
you've been hyping this up for a long time, and I've always said it looks like crap.
I was excited because they put it out there like it was gonna be the DC Deadpool, right? And it was not. It was just a festering pile of crap that featured Batman and Harley Quinn's ass.
Is that pretty much what it was?
That was pretty much like, hey, how about some plot? Maybe some character development, maybe a good villain. No, nah. Why? No, we got Batman. Harley Quinn's ass. We got the cover.
So there's nothing
we'll just
good.
build a film around that.
Nothing
no,
good
Joker sucked. It was weird. He was like this. He was like transsexual Jared Leto.
It was transsexual James Cagney.
But with the makeup and stuff, it was terrible.
Yeah. Well, there you go. By the way, with the
save your money.
The rumors. No. # never daily. We are never ever going daily. And it's not like if we were to ever go daily, we would not do weekly film reviews.
No.
Stop with the horrible, nasty rumors. # never daily. # never ever daily.
It's not polite.
I don't know where people get this idea.
It's mean.
But I appreciate the Suicide Squad film review. I'll need to see these in the future so we can actually give a point, counterpoint. After the break, we're going to have Courtney Kirchhoff on talking about sexism in the Olympics. You know what? A couple. How much time do we have here?
Let me pull up the old clock there.
Oh, okay,
we got 6.5.
All right, good, because I want to know how much time I have. Molly Obama got caught smoking pot, I guess, at Lollapalooza and twerking all this stuff. Listen, I care about as much as I am surprised. Am I surprised? No, I'm not. Do I think it's a national story? No, I don't. But I understand people getting upset because it's always nice to see somebody else stumble and point out hypocrisy. Do I think Barack Obama's a great father? Probably not. Do I think Molly is a great kid? Probably not. And people saying all kids do it. No, statistically they don't. Statistically, most kids don't go twerking at Lollapalooza and smoke pot. Doesn't mean they're a bad kid, but it's an indicator. Talking about Kayla Harrison earlier. Let me give you an example. Kayla Harrison, sexually abused, talked about it on the show, goes out to youth groups, to churches as a testimony, talks to kids about getting out of that, making the right decisions, telling the right people. Doesn't complain about rape culture, was actually raped by her coach. Has written about it extensively, had to pick up, move across the country, would have every excuse to be a loser. Won 2 Olympic gold medals and is an unbelievable representative of this country. Did it very young, her first gold medal. I think she probably has a really good mom. I don't know that she had her dad with her. I'm not entirely sure. I forget about that. But I would say that parent did a good job. A better job than the Obamas, yes. I would say if you look at her trajectory, a better kid than Molly, and there's nothing wrong with saying that. I think Molly Obama is probably a little confused, probably a little mixed up, probably a little bit entitled, Absolutely. And I don't think Barack Obama, Michelle Obama are the best parents. I think they're horrible. No, but it's perfectly fair for you to say that. You don't need to be guilted by having an opinion on that. So it's just unreal the way this unfolded over there on Twitter. Something else I wanted to talk about. Well, this little kid, I really do, hopefully, I was talking to my dad about this. Hopefully that kid, Corn Gaines' kid, someone is out there to adopt this kid or foster him and teach him properly. Which brings me, I get a lot of emails about this sort of idea of masculinity. And that kid's going to be confused. And I realized this, I was watching this Bachelor in Paradise show that happened to be on TV. And the problem is there's a douche, there's an absolute douche who does curls and takes some steroids and has never done a squat in his life and intimidates everyone. And people talk, he's the alpha male and what a jerk he is, and he's drunk and he has nothing else in his life aside from his pecs. And then it's these other men who are terrified of him, right? So it's this alpha beta. And a lot of kids are growing up and they don't realize you don't have to be a douchey bodybuilder or a subservient, weak little man. And these terms that are thrown around, cuck, alpha, usually by frauds. I mean, there's just people are trying to peddle masculinity now, whether it's pickup culture, whether it's testosterone optimization, whether it's, how to be alpha and it's a constant thing. Let me just lay this out for you. And I hope this kid gets a dad, if there's someone out there who would have it on their heart to either adopt him or foster him. My dad taught me this. You can be a strong man physically, emotionally, spiritually, intellectually, and not be an ass and not be a bully. And all great men throughout history have been that way. They were complete, well-rounded men. Think about every man who you really respect, either personally or as a historical or public figure. If you think about it, picture them in your head right now, okay? Let me tell you why you respect them. 9 times out of 10. Was it because they learned postures or took the right supplements or had the right veins in their biceps? No. Was it because they read the right books or had a college degree? Probably not. Every single one of you, if you're picturing this person in your head right now, it's probably a person who was honest, hardworking, accountable, principled, and you believe that they were authentic. In nearly every case. If you're thinking about your dad, if you're thinking about your grandfather, if you're thinking about your uncle who started a business, if you're thinking about a George Washington. Now, of course, everybody is flawed. If you're thinking about people who really love Chris Pratt or people who really love Mike Rowe, whoever it is out there, if you look, people gravitate toward. It's nothing to do with the gimmicks or because they made a load of cash. When I talk about men, about raising a young boy into being a man, and hopefully someone out there can help that kid, Corn Gaines' child, because it's gross child abuse. There are men out there who are nerdy, who lead their families to absolute success, and they have great kids who go on to create other great families. There are men out there who are not very bright, who may be a little more brawny, who protect and serve this country. The thing is, all of these men who you respect with this idea of masculinity, it doesn't need to be so confused. It's not one or the other. It's about being a stand-up person, and you don't have to be a dick. You don't. And that's the problem right now. That's what's being sold is meathead jock. If you watch the reality shows, they're always dumb, they're always drunk, they're always abusive. Or the guy, usually they're gay in these reality shows. They're blatantly homosexual and they're just on there to try and pad their acting resume. And they're terrified. They're terrified of these other men. And so you have a generation of boys. And this is important to the women too, if you have boys or you want to find real men. Courtney has talked about this. It's very hard to find men. You have a generation of boys who think, well, I'm not going to be a bully. I'm not going to be a jerk. I'm not going to be a jock. So I'm going to completely eliminate that portion, which is important for my life. Physical strain, the strenuous life, and just become a very one-dimensional person and consider myself a bookworm. And I'll be sensitive and I'll cry at everything. Or you have a guy who says, well, I'm naturally athletic. I'm going to bully people. And I'm going to say it's alpha male. And I'm gonna sell fairy dust powder and tell people it'll raise their testosterone. I don't know why I'm the only one who seems to assume this is a given, but it is scary when you see a generation of young men right here. Now, certainly when you look at a generation of black American young men with women, with mothers like Corn Gaines out there, I think they're really confused. I think they're really mixed up. And I think Barack Obama was probably one of them. And that's where I would attribute some of that probably with some of the, this isn't the first poor choice from his daughter. And I think she'll get it right. I hope she gets it right. And I hope that someone like Kayla Harrison, I know it's going to be sex, I hope she finds a great man too. But like Courtney tell you, it's getting harder. And I hate people who falsely cash in on it. Try, well, I'll teach you how to be a man, and it's a lie. every man you respect, there are some pretty consistent qualities if you think about it. Emulate those. Courtney Kirchhoff after the break. And now, John Stossel buys produce. Well, some people would buy organic, but we know they still use pesticides, even though they claim they don't. I have a coupon for asparagus, but I prefer Brussels sprouts. Maybe I should abandon vegetables altogether and just buy fruit. Give me a break. Stay tuned for more John Stossel.
When he asked you what we did, you know just what to do. You're dead, you're dead. You never tell your dad. You're dead, you're dead. We mustn't tell your dad. You're dead, you're dead. Don't tell him about our bed. Keep Neverland Ranch a secret, so you never ever ever tell your dad.
In case you didn't realize, that dance was the reenactment of Phelps. The Phelps face, the swimming, and the cupping.
I was jogging and tripped.
You tripped in your chair dance.
It's terrible.
That is remarkable. It's a skill like anything else. All right, I am happy to bring on our next guest. When you hear this, you know who it is. Talking about sexism in the Olympics, and everyone is complaining about this week. Hint, I think she might disagree. Courtney Kirchhoff at Courtney Scoffs is with us. Thank you, sweetheart.
Well, no problem, honey buns.
Oh, geez. We don't have an HR.
And that was the end of the segment.
That's the end of the segment. Look, you got some sun.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good for you.
The sun is out here. We get sun in the Pacific Northwest.
Don't tell people where you are. So we were talking about...
Hey, no, Sasquatch.
I know, Sasquatch. So, big uproar this week about the Olympics, and you wrote about this. HuffPo, they were complaining that everything is sexist. CNN did?
CNN. Yeah.
Gosh, it's permeating everything.
They used to think, CNN was probably thinking they were going to take the lead from Fox News, thinking we're going to be the serious news organization. And then they came out and said everything in the Olympics commentary is sexist. And they only had 4 examples, and they were all crap.
Yes. So, and I read about these examples.
Sorry, CNN.
Well, I read about these examples. And
there's a spot open for HuffPo, though. If they want to be the serious news organization, Ariana Huffington is leaving. So,
Yeah. Well, I don't think any of them are particularly serious anymore. We have Fox News, CNN, MSNBC, Al Jazeera. I don't know. Al Jazeera, I'd put on the same playing field as all of them at this point. Well, I read these examples, and I said, I probably shouldn't touch this as a guy. And I remember asking you, like, is it me? And you were like, no, not at all. So do you have the examples for people who don't know? This was CNN, all these sites complaining about sexism at the Olympics. Front page everywhere. Courtney.
Yes. So here's what I want to point out first. If you want to hear something stupid, go to sports commentary. Listen for 5 minutes, and you'll hear something inane. And for at least the 2000 Olympics, I know this is a personal story, but for the 2000 Olympics in Sydney, I made it a habit to sit there and watch in the middle of the night and write down every stupid thing that I heard. And, you could fill up a note page.
It's a very Courtney activity.
Yeah. Anyway, so CNN decided to pick up the commentary. Well, the first thing that they had a problem with, let's also note that NBC, a competitor, is running the Olympics. So I'm sure maybe that has just a tiny something to do with it.
Could.
They were upset that some NBC official had the machismo to insinuate men and women were different, and that more women than men were watching the Olympics, and they had to tweak the coverage just a bit to package it more for women. And he had the audacity to say that, and the feminists
package it how?
So, his words, women.
She has to
they're
preempt
less
it.
I have to look at it so that I don't get it wrong. Women are less interested in the result and more interested in the journey. It's sort of like the ultimate reality show and miniseries wrapped into one. Well, men like who's going to win.
Yeah.
And women like the story.
Well, that's why there's women's athletics in the first place. If we want to find out who's best, we'll ask the man.
Ask the man. Right. So CNN got their panties in a twist over that. Because men and women are different.
Well, they did try coverage of the Olympics once, but it was just Anderson Cooper ogling Phelps.
Okay.
So it didn't work out well. They kept having a cut back to camera 3.
Is there a delay on this?
Oh, God. Okay, so that's one example. It's clearly absurd.
Yeah, it's absurd.
It's absurd. Well, I mean,
if you've been to a store, here's the thing. If you're a woman and you shop in a store, there's a women's department and a men's department because men and women are different.
Well, now there's a guess department. So, and it's very confusing if you're looking for
What
jeans.
kind of underwear signage do they have?
I don't know anymore. It depends. They probably sell Depends. So that's probably unisex. That's probably a hot ticket item. Okay, well, if this is predicated on the idea that recognizing that men and women are different, then I guess that we would have to concede that the Olympics are sexist. I just don't believe that that is inherently sexist.
It's not a sexist argument, but if CNN was all worried about women and equality and feminism, then shouldn't they be protesting transgender people competing with women?
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't think that's how it works. But they have the gay games, so they do have their Well, it's just
they're borrowing the same colors from the Olympics, the rainbow.
Yes,
scheme.
the gay game. Well, it's just purse fighting and bitch slap boxing. It's not fun for anyone to watch. They did have the gay games, I remember, in Montreal. Okay, what's the second example?
Fun in Qatar, I'm sure.
All right, second
Big
one.
hit.
Okay, I am going to screw up this woman's name, and I apologize.
Sexist. Go.
Don't apologize. Just go. Just go for it.
Katinka Huza's
Oh my God.
husband.
I didn't think it would be that bad.
I know. I'm so sorry. Howzoo's.
Hazu. Not gonna work here no more.
I'm sorry, Katinka. I might even be saying the first name wrong.
Okay. Well, let's just get to the example because this isn't getting better.
I'm sorry. God, stop it. She took gold in the 400-meter individual medley, and yeah, apparently the camera panned to her husband and gave him some of the credit for the win. Something of note here: he was also the coach.
Oh. You know what's funny? When I read that story, the first thing this was the lead, right? The sexism, and I'm going, I panned to the husband. I'm going, hold on, was he the coach? And I read more one paragraph down. And I said, oh, yes, that makes sense. It'd be like panning to Mickey, saying, oh, yeah, this is the guy who helped Rocky.
Yeah, and if you've watched any kind of, again, if you watch sports, and I know a lot of women don't from the first point that they had to point out that they had to package it differently because women don't watch sports. So women, if you watch sports, you would note that the coach gets credit for things.
Yeah, well, just look at the salaries. Just look at the salaries of Division I coaches. It's unreal, and they just get run through the ringer if the team
If
or
something
the
goes wrong, the coach gets hit. So sorry, not sexism.
Yeah, well, the coach, if the coach were a woman, they probably would have not panned to her unless she was attracactive.
Oh, I would hope so.
That's probably true. If she was a lesbian coach.
Well, if she were a lesbian coach, it'd just be her and Phelps cupping each other, and they have strong hands. Is my point. They're good masseuses, the lesbians. When I go in, it's always hard. Like, do I want a guy or do I want a woman? Well, I'm a married man, but I don't want to be with a guy, so I say, give me the butch lesbian from BuzzFeed. Courtney Kirchhoff. More when we come back. Welcome back to our live coverage of the 2016 Olympic Games from Rio de Janeiro, Brazil. Don't drink the water, but drink in the women. Soak it in, boys. Co-hosting with me, as always, is Bob. I'm just glad to be here, Jim. Of course you are, Bob, and we are about underway with the women's 400-meter swimming event. I believe this takes place in a pool, Jim. That's correct, Bob, and we are about to be underway as they fire The starting sound.
I think that's a gun, Jim.
That's correct, Bob, and we are underway. Oh, look at those ladies going. We are going quickly right from the start.
They swim fast for women, Jim.
And, of course, representing for the first time her country from Pakistan in the hijab, well, it looks like she already drowned, so no surprise there.
Wish I could say I didn't see that one coming, Jim.
Oh, we all do, Bob, but we all did. And, of course, the American, the pride and joy of the Star-Spangled is, oh, look at that in the crowd right behind her. That's her husband. Do you see that, Bob?
He's a good-looking man, Jim.
Indeed he is, Bob, and we wonder what it must be like for him right now to watch his wife, who is setting, apparently, I'm receiving word, a world record.
That's impressive, Jim.
Indeed it is, but bittersweet for him, I'd imagine, as it's taking place in a pool and not the kitchen.
Conflicting emotions, Jim.
Oh, I'm now receiving word that the American did set the world record and will win the gold medal. Hey, Bob, do you think you could go down there and get an interview with that husband?
I believe I can, Jim.
Sort of get a whole man behind the woman thing. The man who made it happen.
I can do my best, Jim.
No doubt he's the one who provided so she could take part in such superfluous activity. Stay tuned for more live coverage of the 2016 Rio de Janeiro Summer Olympic Games. We'll return with information on the Lebanese Olympic team, who refused to ride buses with the Jews. Crowder, go every day. Crowder, go every day. Louder with Crowder, go every day. Louder with Crowder, go every day.
Never daily. So stop asking on Twitter at @SCrowder and at NotGayJared. Glad to be back. She's with us at Courtney Scoffs, Courtney Kirchhoff with us. Sorry, there were a few commercials there that you had to wade through.
Those were great.
Still, thank you. We have some tweets. People saying bring up some nerd. We'll get back to the other thing because this isn't a long segment. People saying bring up the nerd stuff with it's just as important as her being a woman. So you liked Suicide Squad.
I didn't see Suicide Squad. I liked Batman v Superman.
Oh, that's
I was waiting for it to be crappy, and it never got crappy.
What?
So my expectations were really low going in. I didn't go and see it in the movie theater because there were so many mixed reviews.
Henry Cavill.
So like finally, I read a major spoiler online. Like, dang it. So then I finally decided to watch it. I got it from iTunes.
Wait, if you didn't go to it, it's not available on iTunes yet.
Yeah, Batman vs Superman. Yeah.
To rent?
No, it's you can buy it. It came out.
You can buy
bought
it.
it?
You can rent
It's on DVD.
No, I rented it. I'm not paying $20
Red
for
box
a
that bad boy.
Who buys an anyway? Well, anyways, you're wrong. So give me this. Give me the third example from the Olympics, the sexes, and then we'll get a review on Suicide Squad from you to see if you
I've
like.
not seen Suicide Squad.
You're not going to?
No, I haven't seen it, and I don't plan on seeing it.
You don't want to
I'll
see
see Justice League, but I'm not.
Oh, I get it because of Wonder Woman.
No, Henry Cavill's back in.
Oh, that's right, Henry Cavill. I forgot about that.
Call me Henry. Find me.
Yeah.
At Courtney's
I've heard that he is maybe of the other persuasion. So, Courtney,
please, you wish.
What's the third example from the Olympics of sexism?
The Chicago Tribune tweeted a thing. This is important because it's in Chicago. Okay, that's
right.
Key here. Chicago said they sent a tweet. Wife of Bears lineman wins a bronze medal today in Rio Olympics.
Okay.
Okay. I've got a tweet here from another last name I'm going to butcher, so I'm not even going to use it. I'm going to call her Ashley Quesadilla. Okay. That's not her last name. Said,
what does it matter tonight after all the racism? Go ahead.
Wow, Chicago Tribune, it's good thing she's married to a Bears lineman. Otherwise, you might not have cared. Now, nobody knows who this woman is.
I don't
it's the
know
Olympics. These are sports that people only care about every 4 years. so people aren't aware of who these athletes are. I'm sorry, okay?
We were at a wedding recently, and there was a girl who was like the best shot putter in the United States. And everyone had to tell you because that's the best shot putter in the country. Oh, and I went on with my tiramisu.
Yeah, you don't care. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
her name is Corey Cogden Onren, as I think. I don't hear any of these people's names to pronounce. I'm sorry if I'm butchering them.
That's fine. Don't spend so much time on the names because
It doesn't matter because here's the thing. Are there some examples where reporters refer to someone as the significant other of someone else? Yes, but only because that other person is more famous. So nobody knows. They're trying to sell a newspaper. This is Chicago. They reference the lineman because they're trying to sell the story. Nobody knows who she is.
It's like every time Jennifer Aniston and Justin Theroux, they're always like,
whatever. Who knows who he is? So they have to say, oh, it's Jennifer Aniston's before anyone
Theroux,
else.
I think it's got X's in there. You should know how to pronounce that.
It's not Theroux. It's Theroux. So okay, so that's the third example. I'm really hoping. What's the fourth one? Give me something where I can at least give them like, all right, that's a little bit penis privilege.
Wait, was that the fourth? That was the third one. Was that the third one? No, that was the fourth one.
That was the fourth.
That was the fourth one. Here's the third one. I skipped one. I skipped one.
No, well maybe it's better.
Oh my gosh. Here we go. Yeah, you guys are gonna love this one. An NBC commentator referred to a group of gymnasts as looking like a bunch of girls at the mall.
They're female.
They're teenage girls in bright leotards, all hanging out as a gaggle.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
This is the scientific term. School of fish, gaggle of teenage girls.
And in fairness, the Aldo bags in their hands would throw anybody off.
Yes.
So I don't know why they had those there.
I don't think that's, as a woman, I don't think that's sexist. I think if a commentator had said that about the guys, they look like a bunch of jocks hanging around the locker room, would anyone have batted an eyelash?
Well, what they say about, and it's not nearly as bad as what they say about the Chinese gymnasts, where they look like a bunch of kids at a bouncy hop. So it's almost complimentary if you think about it.
Yeah.
Good Lord. Yeah, just the Chinese diving team. It just looks like a bunch of tykes at Gymboree. Just a bunch of Orientals at Build-A-Bear.
Here's the thing. If they said these kinds of things in the commentary, I think more people would watch. Like if they wanted to up their ratings a little bit, you need to say more outlandish things.
Yeah, like the Best in Show. You ever watch the movie Best in Show?
Yeah.
Pretty funny.
That's what the little Sherlock Holmes had in pipe.
Hey, take a guess. How much do you think I could bench?
Yeah, it is. It is unbelievably boring. And then there's this great athlete, Kayla Harrison, who was one of the first guests on the show, double gold in American judo. She's unbelievably, and we had her on the show. And there's no ego, and generally speaking, in most combat sports athletes, because she was on the show. She's like, well, yeah, I'm the best for my weight division for women, but of course, any competitive male would mop the floor with me. She didn't have any problem saying that.
Right.
And she's as good of a female athlete as ever walked the earth. You put her up with Serena, any of them, she is amazing. I don't know if you watched her highlight reel, but and she's a big girl too. She's a big girl, but this isn't like cheesy gordita, fat pride. She's like 6-pack, and she competes at 170. So she cuts to make 170, and she is she's very broad, very strong. And
kick my butt.
Yeah, I didn't see a lot of commentary. Why didn't NBC? They should have had, if they didn't want to be sexist, right? They want to talk about excellence. They should have had the cameras lined up, and that should have been broadcast, their main station, and they should have been promoting it and had the press row lined up for her because she was a huge story. It trended on Twitter for like 5 minutes.
Well, so here's the thing. They want to find sexism. They want sexism to be real. And these were the best examples they could find. So what does that tell you? I mean, they're really reaching, looking, searching for sexism. They're so desperate for it to be true. And that, to me, is more telling. That they want it to be true so that they can continue using it as an excuse for why they suck.
Well, then you've...
I'm sorry. There is no glass ceiling that is keeping you down. If you're a woman and you're still down, maybe it's because you're a whiny little brat. Just work harder then, okay? Stop.
Good Lord, she's gonna get.
Then you got the Moroccan boxers searching for sexism, minus theism.
Oh God. Yeah, a little.
It happens all the time.
Just so you know,
Steven.
Courtney. Avoid the Moroccans if you can.
It's a broad, sweeping generalization. Yes. Is it unfair? Yes. But it could just save you.
Yeah, they're not really in my circle of friends. I don't know if that makes me a racist, but...
Well, I love how everyone pointed to Morocco as this bastion of moderate Islam, and they're burning churches down and record numbers, and this, they're going to Rio and raping the women. It's a really, it's just...
That's how you warm up for the Olympics. It's kind of like spring training.
I've heard the Olympics are kind of known for a lot of that.
Well, yes. You're putting a bunch of
athletic...
Yeah, athletic people.
Good-looking people in a room together, in a whole place together, and...
Yeah, you're taking a bunch of athletic people with perfect hormonal profiles, the perfect specimens, who are working out. Hormones are flying. They're absolutely anxious. They need to relieve the tension, and you're making them.
And they never seen a
mates.
chick without a burqa before. It happens all the time.
Just when they come to Morocco, it's like a kid in a candy store for them. They just, oh my gosh!
You have to pay for this.
Did you watch the women in the burqa at the beach volleyball? Have you seen those images, the videos?
No, but I bet that's hilarious. Because beach volleyball is tough. I don't know how you would do it wearing all those layers.
I guess you can argue that it's admirable that they can do it with.
Admiral?
Yeah, admirable.
You got admiral on the mind, looking for a rear admiral of your own.
Next
Rump
point.
Ranger. Yeah. Well, think about it. When they put them in swim meets, it's like waterboarding. You just wearing a burqa and putting water over them. It
Bush
really,
still gets blamed. I don't know how that works.
I will say this. Have you noticed this, Courtney, with this? The Islamic, they do seem to be more radicalized than they were in our lifetimes because they've been acting up a lot at these Olympics. Kind of like they're at the kids' table, no parents are watching, only the kids' table is, all the people they're raping are the Jews they're beating
Are they
up.
acting up because they want the attention for acting up? Because we keep pointing out that, there seems to be a problem with Islam here, but everyone else is like, no, it's not Islam. It's not Islam. And ISIS is over there going, hello, we're doing this to you. They put out a listicle
it's on the brochure.
a couple of weeks ago. Yeah, so, they're kind of like little toddlers acting out because they want attention.
ISIS is like a Michael Moore film where they want to list themselves as every single credit, and it's just rolling up ISIS, ISIS. Hello! Hello! They probably called up the Moroccan rapist boxer. We're like, listen, I know we haven't ducked before, but we could really use a hand.
We need you to rape the women.
No, Courtney. Look, see, she takes it too far. Look at this.
This
is why people say women can't be funny, because they don't know how they take it too far. It's like
I
when
just
you
told a
wrestle.
rape
You found the
joke.
line, Courtney. Congratulations.
I told a rape joke and attempted an accent.
I valiant effort on the accent. But it's like when women wrestle. You ever wrestle with like a sister? Because they don't do it with boys that often. Until like you wrestle with boys and they right away they gouge your eyes like Krav Maga. You're like, whoa! I don't usually wrestle with boys.
You only had one brother, so where does the story come from?
Well, listen, I've learned from the Moroccans. The thing is with Courtney, she did the same thing with jokes. Where we were joking, we were alluding, it was suggestion, and she goes right to rape. I'm disappointed in my employees tonight. I'm not going to lie.
I'm going to fire myself.
That's fair.
You know what? Tonight, Not Gay Jared was on time. Everything's gone off without a hitch. And then the lady who I rely on to come in and pinch hit, the pumpkin I rely on to come in, she just blew everything out of the water with the rape gag.
Should we start the show over?
We can't restart the show over. The problem is with Courtney because
it's because you mistook me saying that I liked Suicide Squad when I liked Batman v Superman.
Well, I know.
Get your research right.
These are but minor details. Okay, listen. We had Gavin on. We had Ben on. You've gone back and forth. Do you know what you're doing in November?
I have no idea what I'm doing in November, and it's the first time I don't know what I'm doing for an election. I go back and forth. I really do. I can see both arguments. Hillary Clinton is a train wreck, and I know that she's a train wreck, and I know that she's a horrible, horrible human being. And I don't know what I'm going to get from Trump, and that's where I am. Like, well, I know Hillary is horrible. I don't know for sure if Trump is horrible, and that is his best selling point. Then that scares me a little bit.
Now, if you didn't vote for Trump, does that mean you would vote for Hillary, or is that just like bow out?
I would just bow out. I would vote down ballot, but I don't know what I'm going to do. I really don't.
You know, I think this is the only show where we've had a lot of people admit this. Because they either again, because of if there's any financial influences, or they feel as though they're beholden to an audience where they have to be 100% all in for Trump or never Trump. I've talked to a lot of people, including some people who
That's almost all of my friends. either they don't know or...
Well, you and I know this, too. Some of the most pro-Trump people out there publicly who we've talked with behind the scenes who are like, I have to kind of go with this. A lot of people aren't sure yet.
I have a few friends who know that I'm into politics, and they've asked, like, what are you going to do? What's going on? Like, I
had a friend text me
know.
just tonight asking the same thing. Just
Yeah.
tonight.
Dean?
No, well, yeah, I got to get back with him later, too, but no.
It's tweet us at @SCRED or at Courtney Scoffs what you think. I understand. Listen, everyone here agrees that Hillary's an absolute horrible human being, and you should never vote for Hillary. And I would never tell someone. Well, I shouldn't tell you how to vote, but I would say I don't see any justifiable way to vote for Hillary. But I can absolutely see both sides to the argument now, especially considering how divisive people have been on both sides. But I think particularly now with Trump, as they're still really attacking other Republicans, which I'd love to see all of that energy 100% directed toward Hillary.
And if he did that, if he went 100% towards Hillary, it would be, like, as Ben said, a lot harder to say, well, I'm not going to do Trump because whatever reason. If he was hitting Hillary and hitting her hard every time, it would be really hard to say no to Trump.
I agree. We have to let you go. Courtney said at Second Amendment, go shoot Hillary Clinton. Louder with Crowder. We'll wrap this up after the break. All right, gents, this is important. Here at Major Motion Picture Production Company, we understand that people are less likely to part ways with their hard-earned dollar. Less likely to go to the movies, so we need to convince them and come up with the best ideas possible. Any take?
Yes, well, I was thinking, based on the success of the all-female Ghostbusters...
Rip-roaring!
We could do an Ocean's 11.
You mean like a sequel?
Well, really just a remake.
It's not even that old.
Yes, but we would remake it with women.
Retread ground that was already broken originally by men with women. But wouldn't the women perhaps have a problem with this, not taking part in an original idea?
No, our studies show that women are actually more comfortable in safe territory that's already been explored by men.
Yes, feminists are quite fond of riding coattails. I like it. Let's make it happen.
Okay, I'll write that one down.
Now, with Ocean's 11, we had Ocean's 12, Ocean's 13, so I'm assuming the natural progression here...
Yes, would be Ocean's 14.
Indeed. Now, where can we find 14 women for an all-female cast, brimming with talent?
Well, there's Sandra Bullock.
Write her down.
Julia Roberts.
She was already in the other Ocean's movies. We can't break that fourth wall.
Scarlett Johansson.
Damn it, I said talented.
Anne Hathaway.
Good Lord, man, are you retarded?
Well, we have that contractual obligation.
Oh, that's right. Well, as long as I don't have to see it.
Rihanna wants to get into acting.
Oh, that African-American rapper with the white features. Yes, let's include her.
In that same vein, there's that Asian rapper.
Oh, like Salt and Pepper, but with soy sauce.
Yes.
Her name is it Dasani?
Aquafina, that's her name.
Of course, Aquafina. Who else? Who else could we use for an all-female Ocean's 14? Let's go with Ocean's 8. Last segment, Hopper growling. Did you hear that?
Everyone else loves the dancing. Hopper
He was barking and growling, and then when I pointed him to his bed, he went...
Jesus.
He has to get one last word in. I don't know if he has the temperament for president. That was Courtney Scoffs, Courtney Kirchhoff. Always lovely to have her on the program talking about the Olympics. We don't know... We don't know who we have yet next week. I think we have Joey Salads. Oh, we're going to try and get Dinesh D'Souza on.
We don't know who we have.
Which may or may not happen.
But I am busy ordering a pizza, so I can't be bothered.
It's just, it's too much intensity with the Trump side.
It is.
Here's one thing I will say with the audience there. Hopefully you see we'll get things wrong and you'll disagree with us. We really do try and be honest with you. If someone doesn't, right there, you're not going to hear that on any other news network or even a lot of these YouTube channels or alternative networks or websites where people go, gosh, I don't know. I don't know. Courtney just said it. She's like, I don't know about the Trump thing.
There seems to be like an uncomfortableness with not knowing. People feel like they have to be sure.
They feel like they have to definitively state
something.
And
even though it states something, and probably on the inside really still be turning about what
I think that's well, I know some people for a fact have stated it, and they feel the opposite. Some very high-profile people, and I know some people who aren't sure. So I understand it, and like I said, I do think, regardless of your view, 91% of Americans at this point have not voted for either candidate. And they have the number 1, Donald Trump, and number 2, highest Hillary Clinton unfavorability ratings of any president of all time. Number 1 and number 2 of all time. So the vast majority of 91% of Americans hate them. Get off Twitter. Get off the, if you're a leftist, get off the Tumblr. Get off the HuffPo. If you're someone on the right, get off all the right-wing sites and the anti-Tumblr and just the anti-HuffPo. Go out into the world, and you will find the vast majority of people can't stand either of them. So you can just say to conservatives, get behind because he's better than Hillary Clinton, but that's not an argument for 91%. That doesn't work, and I won't shut up when I say, "Gosh, the polls that he always cited are now awful." We knew the media was going to be unfair. That's not enough. That's not. You need to make the case, and I think Gavin made a good case. I think Gavin stated a lot of things with which people like us, people like me, anyway, people like us, not Jared and I, already agree. On policies and ideas. I get it. Harsher immigration policies, I understand. Less interventionism, yes, I get it. I don't think people paying their fair share internationally to protect themselves, of course, 100%. But that's not making the case to people who have issues with Donald Trump. Just like, the Hillary Clinton. Here's something that I was just genuinely thinking about here. Donald Trump had the Second Amendment misspeak. I mean, the Khan issue. Hillary Clinton, can't stand her. Get rid of Benghazi and the email stuff because that's long-standing. What has Hillary Clinton done herself in the last week or 2 weeks, if you were a 24-hour news cycle, that you really... What has she said that you would use as the equivalent to the Second Amendment issue? What slip-up or blunder has she had that you would use? Genuine question. The closest thing, the father of the Orlando shooter was behind her. We covered that before anyone else did. And that's damning. But what has Hillary Clinton done as far as talking over herself? What would you use? Again, Benghazi email server, you can't use that because this has been going on for a long time. She's been on trial for these things for a long time. Horrible, absolutely. But you have to take your pick. You run all the media, ABC, NBC, CBS, right? The mainstream media who's unfair to Trump. What would you take to make her seem as inept as the quotes they've taken on Donald Trump? Because all the things I can't stand about her are things that make her very calculated and less likely to make those mistakes. Because she's not genuine. Because she's a liar. Because she's calculated. But it also makes it far less likely that she has these blunders.
And in fairness, she does have a favorable media, a friendly media.
Of course she does.
So,
but I'm saying if she didn't, if you ran the media, what would you take from the last week or two to combat Donald Trump's Second Amendment? What quote would you take from Hillary? What incident would you take that she herself used? Because what the media is doing, and we talked about with Seth Meyers, they're using Donald Trump's own words. What would you do with Hillary Clinton to do that? Because I'll tell you, it's hard. If you bring up the fact that she supports abortion or something, well, again, that's not an argument to the 91%. People know, of course. What do you have that makes people think she is remarkably unstable or unable to? She doesn't do it as much because for all of her faults and the things that I like about Donald Trump, that he is genuine, that he's not a politician, good qualities, the best qualities he has, make her less likely to do that. And she has a friendly media. So it was something I was thinking about today.
Yeah, well, you have Trump, and there's always the he says what he means guy. And then he does certain things, and that's so easy to throw back in his face. Well, this says what he means. I guess he really did mean say,
It's unfortunate.
I don't know.
But hopefully he really takes it to her, and I would love to just see her lose horrendously. Nothing would make me happier. Well, as we take this out for you, listen, we were talking about the sort of the masculinity thing that seemed to resonate with a lot of people. And really, if there's someone out there who wants to adopt or foster this Corn Gaines kid, I don't know where he's going. The kid's going to end up in the system, and that would break my heart. Something else, too. A lot of people say, hey, do you have any advice? I get constant emails on the podcast front. We had, probably over 1,000 submissions for the golden ticket, so thank you. We're still going through those right now, but we're never going daily, #neverdaily. What do I do for a podcast? What do I do if I want to start a site? Like I was saying, every single man you respect, you can find some similar qualities. If you want to be successful in anything, look at the Olympics. Look at every single one of them. Look at any person who's great at anything, or look at anything in your life that you're good at. Find the thing you're best at. I guarantee you, in nearly every instance, it's been about consistency. You've done it. They've done it. If you want to get good at something, do it every day. Just do it every day. You don't have to do it 100% every day. Do it every single day. You've got to want to be successful, whether it's an Olympic athlete, whether you want to start a news network. You've got to want it more, or you want to lose weight. I get that a lot because we have more crypto. You've got to want it more than you want that extra beer, that donut. You've got to want it more to be a blogger than you want to sleep in. And you've got to do it every day. That's the first step. One day rest, Sunday. I get Fridays off. You've got to do it every day consistently. You want to learn about politics? Read on it every day. You want to become an athlete? Every day. Consistency. And I think the Olympics are it's a great time to look at it and say, what creates excellency? In nearly every case, it comes down to consistency. That's the big divider, focus and consistency. And I'm learning that. Talk to you next week.